A driver after an undercover operation led to a reckless high-speed chase of a silver Chevrolet Corvette. Police used tire spikes to stop the vehicle, and the occupants were arrested, and then street takeover promotional items were found inside the car. The seizure is part of the city police efforts to stop these takeovers and other dangerous activities plaguing city streets. A 24-hour search by 5 different search crews ended Monday night with the discovery of the missing young man's body in the Missouri River near Defiance. The drowning occurred Sunday evening, and the name of the victim has not yet been released. A Principia high school employee was charged this week with having sex with a student. Tess Miller, 32, was charged with 3 counts of sexual contact with the student. Miller worked for the school's boarding program. In sports, the Cardinals got out-hit 14-7. They lost to the Cubs 7-3 in Game 1 of their 4-game set. Game 2 tonight at Busch. That's your headlines. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's still a hot and humid day on this Tuesday, but a cool front is coming through. Partly sunny skies, couple of spot storms. Again, still humid, still warm, 93 degrees, so a little bit better than the last 2 days. Tonight, some clouds, some spot thunderstorms, 71. Wednesday, the northwest flow takes hold. Sunny skies, lower humidity, better temperatures, 89. Do that again on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's 5:05, 82 degrees, and a reminder, we still have that extreme heat warning in effect until this evening, so take it easy again today. Don't forget, you can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show and all the great shows on 97.1 FM Talk. All you have to do is go out there and download that free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, good morning to you. As I try to get the microphone adjusted this morning, I don't know who the midgets are who work in here. Maybe they're from Mascuda.
Mine's just the opposite. I'm a tall guy, and my camera's always got me like at the person here probably stands. It's got to be the reason. It must be because whoever's at this station stands up, because it's like my head's at the bottom of the screen every time to start our Facebook Live. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome in. Dan Buck in here, obviously, for Kim St. Ange, who continues her vacation. She's having a great time. Shared a few pictures with she and her boys on the beach, catching crabs and
nice.
Playing in the water. They're having a good time. So good for her. Glad she's able to get out of town and enjoy it and relax a little bit. And
catching crabs had a whole different meaning when I was in college down at the beach. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. You got to be careful there, Dan. You know what I'm saying? You can never be too careful.
Times change from when you were in college.
Woo.
Yeah, okay.
Those things will bite you.
Yes.
You got to watch out what you're doing there.
Big snappers.
So, we've got a great day for you here. We got a great show for you, in fact. A little later, of course, we're going to get to Derrick Warfel on. Here's the author of UFOs and God. And no, I didn't book this just because Drew Young is with us this morning helping out outside because he and I talk about UFOs and stuff all the time. But I thought this was pretty fascinating because, Dan, I've long had the theory that the reason the federal government has hidden what it knows about UFOs, they call them UAPs now, unexplained aerial phenomena, is because they decided, whoever they are, years ago, that the knowledge that there was a extraterrestrial power of some sort would undermine government and religion at the same time.
Huh. Who made that determination?
Well, I mean, who's the most powerful force in your life? The answer to that's going to depend on whether you're secular or religious, right? If you're secular, the most powerful force in your life is probably government. tells you what to do, controls just about everything in your life from, your birth to your death and everything in between. If you believe in God, then your religion is probably the most powerful thing in your life in most cases. If you're suddenly introduced to the fact that we've been visited by people from another planet whose level of technology is that far above ours, it's going to bring into question everything you believe about power.
It doesn't for me. I don't box my God into a small box to think he has this enormous universe and we're the only living creatures or the only planet that can have advanced life. I think our God's got an amazing imagination and has done incredible things. And what we do here on this earth is one realm of God's love for us, but there's, a whole universe out there.
If you believe that he created the universe, I get that argument. But when this guy reached out to us and I saw this book and the title, I'm like, that's pretty interesting because I've thought about that for a long time and what that impact is on people of faith. So we're going to get him on here in the 8 o'clock hour this morning.
That'd be a great interview. I look forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting to have a little back and forth with him and what he thinks is behind all of this and maybe the impact of it if they ever reveal anything. We've seen a few videos. There's still some redacted stuff. We had Eric Burleson on the other day, and he's like, yeah, there's still some stuff out there you haven't seen, which he's seen in a skiff, right? But he can't talk about. And he actually just got a bill. I don't know if it's passed the House, but it's certainly passed out of a committee that would require even more transparency from the federal government on that issue because he's pushing for all of it to be released. And they still haven't done that.
Yeah, there's word that pilots have had very close encounters, there's incredible video of those interactions.
You've seen some of it, but apparently we haven't seen all of it.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's probably much better, more clear images than what we've been released.
I don't know.
And some of it's pretty cool that's been released recently, but there's got to be better info.
I don't know if E.T. has phoned home or not, but someday we may find out about
When's that interview? What time today?
We're going to talk to him at 8:20 this morning.
Okay. That'll be good.
Yeah, stick around for that. We'll kick that around with him. I think the other really big news that came out of yesterday was these Fauci diaries.
Wow.
And I'm watching Brett Baer last night on Fox, and he said he was interviewing Britt Hume. And he said, Britt, I've researched this, and so far, on the following mainstream media outlets, at the time he mentioned the Wall Street Journal, no, not the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, like the Washington Post, all of these other liberal mastheads that are out there, all these, and several networks, ABC, maybe NBC at that point, none of them had reported yet on the Fauci diary. None of them. Wow. Rand Paul has been trumpeting this.
I think he's had this stuff much longer than we know.
If you haven't heard this news yet, what they've gotten their hands on is some notes that Anthony Fauci took while he was running the country into the ground over COVID, telling you one thing, that this came from a lab in Wuhan, or from a fish market in Wuhan and not a lab. And at the same time, privately acknowledging that he didn't believe that. I mean, it's that bad. It's like the Benghazi story, where they told the world that they thought it was just a protest that got out of hand. But privately,
video,
Susan Rice and Hillary Clinton and all of them knew that wasn't what it was. And then you famously had Hillary Clinton saying, "What difference at this point does it make?"
Yeah.
It does make a difference, and they're going to get Anthony Fauci under oath tomorrow in Washington. And some people think it's a big deal, some people don't, because he's already been pardoned for any crime he might have committed. But because he's been pardoned for any crime he's committed, he can't plead the fifth because nothing of what he would say would be incriminating, right?
I've been told that states can still go after him. That was a federal pardon for federal charges.
Yeah.
But that states who followed his lead when he himself didn't believe in half of what he was saying. I mean, the diary's damning, and the ego of this guy and his love affair with the media and going to Jake Tapper's house for dinner, and I mean, just the ick. I mean, that's the way I could describe it. The guy just makes my skin crawl. I hate the guy. I can't even tell you. You know, the way I knew he jumped the shark, and I knew it was all BS when they said that natural immunity didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
When they stopped ignoring, remember, it was all about getting to the curve, all about getting to 65, 70%. And then they said, oh, doesn't matter whether you've got you've had the virus, you still got to get the shot. I'm like, oh, sorry, you just jumped the shark.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, that doesn't play. That does not make any sense.
I just have one question for you. Hold on.
Okay.
Is my audio not up over here? What happened?
He probably had.
It's not. Somebody has changed the board, and the audio is not up over here.
This happens in the
either?
5 o'clock hour.
I think it's
No, they changed my board.
I think it's
Oh,
that.
they did?
Yeah, I think it's that Annie Fry show.
Uh-huh. It's always Annie.
Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
blame it on Annie.
I'm speculating.
There you go.
There you go. Try that.
Nope.
You think that's it?
I think that's it.
Hold on.
Maybe.
At this
There you
point, does it make?
That's what I was trying to play.
What difference at this point does it make?
We'll find out.
Hillary.
We'll find out tomorrow. All right, let's get to the short list, if you don't mind, and start off with your number 2 item there for me, please.
Yep.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
How much patience do you have left?
I have a lot of patience. I have plenty of time.
Yeah, that's the president yesterday was talking, of course, about Iran. We're on the 3rd day now where we haven't bombed them. And the speculation is that maybe there was some negotiating going on. President's like, I'm not in a hurry. I got all the time in the world. Republicans don't think so.
He's giving our pilots a break.
Yeah.
So the Democrats have become a party of freaks, weirdos, losers, and crazies. But you can't laugh it off because it's deadly serious.
Yeah, Stephen Miller, man, from the White House. That guy slices them and dices them, and the left despises him.
Oh, he was on Hannity just going off last night. He was hysterical.
Yeah, they hate him.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party, the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America, and the Communists, that's one party.
Amen.
Yeah, Jason Chaffetz. You can't get away from it. I've got some great sound this morning with some DSA candidate who's running for governor in Wisconsin. And she just spells out why she thinks it's the most fair system in the world. I'll play it for you coming up.
You know, one of the biggest items that we found in there was that in January of 2020, he already was acknowledging that the virus didn't originate in the marketplace.
Yep, there's Rand Paul. He's going to roll all of this out at this hearing and find out how Fauci defends it.
That's tomorrow morning, and that's must-see TV.
Because the
that's
video,
going to be good.
The video timestamp won't lie. You'll be able to find the bites of what he was saying publicly at the same time he was writing something else privately.
Did he offer up this diary? How did it get
I don't
public?
know the answer
I don't
to
know.
that.
I
I've
don't
not
either. I
heard.
was looking yesterday, like, how did the diary details get released? I mean,
why would he release that? That'd be kind of dumb.
Unless that's
Is
part
it
of
in
his
his
whole
book?
book tour.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Who knows? Man.
Did he really think somebody wouldn't do the math?
Well, and to really think that he could get away with this lab leak thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that it was not a lab leak, that it was some wet market. I mean, the fact he lied about that and had doctor after doctor telling him this is all man-made. Everything in the lab is telling us this was not
make that
from
leap.
nature. Yeah.
Right. All right, we will get to a quick break here. Let's get to our national anthem.
traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, good morning to you. We had some overnight road work, remember, and the closures out west. So this is 70 at the 64 split. And one of the ramps that was closed was the ramp from westbound 64 onto 70. And we've just got a lot of volume out there while crews still deal with things. So if you're in that intersection, 70 at 64, it is busy at this hour. But it's about the only thing that is. Other than that, we look good, and that's throughout really the entire area, and that includes the Illinois side. So if you're traveling in from Illinois at this hour, things look fine on the Illinois side and on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, if you're still awake because you've been up all night worried about those credit card bills, let me tell you what, I've got the answer for you. It's Golden Oak Lending. Reach out to them and just ask them about their rates right now in the fours. I mean, if you're a homeowner, there's really not a good argument to not do this. Seriously, you can redo your mortgage with them, take that cash out that you have in there, and pay off those high interest rate credit cards. If you're paying 30% on a $20,000 or $30,000 balance, that's crazy town. You don't have to do that. Golden Oak can help you. Call them up and let their mortgage officers explain how this works. Now, they're going to tell you if they can help you or if they can't, because they're honest people. They're not just trying to make a dime on this, but they do have great rates. And if you're about to buy a new home, you're shopping for that next new home, those same mortgage rates apply to you. It's not just for refinancing. So reach out to Golden Oak. When I did this, I did it all online at goldenoaklending.com. They make it that easy to refinance your mortgage or to get a new mortgage. Call them today at 314-567-GOLD or go to goldenoaklending.com. Their NMLS number is 114937.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
Today, the Cards, the Cubs. Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25 plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
The time now is 5:23, and this time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
Well, the mainstream media will never let you down. You can always expect to find biased reporting inserted. I listened to the coverage of this shooting, and they're all guilty of it. I honestly, even outlets you might not expect are guilty of it. They fall into the one mindset when it comes to any kind of violence that includes a gun. The Southern Poverty Law Center, the Brady campaign, all of these people have been working on this to sort of brainwash the media for years, and now they just automatically do it. They referred to CBS Morning News did this yesterday. Another mass shooting in America is their headline. It's how they all lead it off.
Yeah.
If they don't say that in the lead sentence, they say it in the second sentence. It's another mass shooting in America. There have been 178 mass shootings in America. This is regarding the Seattle Food Festival, right?
Yep.
And like my fifth paragraph rule still stands. In most of these cases, they bury the lead in the fifth paragraph. They say what they want in the first paragraph, and they bury the lead is, it was a gang shooting. And you had two thugs shooting at each other at a food festival, and a couple of bystanders got hit. That's not a mass shooting event. It's wrong to lump all of those together. It's a very isolated incident. Nobody was targeted except the two idiots shooting at each other over a gang warfare. That's what it was. But you watch these politicians, Pramila Jayapal, this crazy socialist mayor they just elected in Seattle, they're all playing this up as, one more problem with deadly gun violence in America. It was one-on-one gang-related shooting. That's what it was. Here's what these people do. We know the playbook by now, right? We're not surprised by this. We know the playbook. If there's a shooting near a school at 2 a.m. and it's completely unrelated to the school, a gang shooting,
I know where you're going with this.
They mark it down as gun violence at a school. They'll call it a mass shooting at a school when it's completely unrelated to the school property. Completely.
All the time they do that.
Because they use it to skew the statistics.
Same goes if it's near a church.
It's true.
A church suit shooting.
Yeah. And that stuff just drives me nuts. And it drives me. It used to drive me crazy when I was anchoring at Channel 4, and they'd hand me a piece of copy, and I'd look at it. You write that way? Did it, just out of interest, did it come across the Associated Press that way, Charla or whoever it was that handed it to me, or did you interject your own bias into the lead of that story?
I always love how they'll also frame things as hate shootings, like, it was a hate crime. And I'm like, well, if it was two black people firing at each other, they didn't have hate for each other, so there's no hate there. But if it was a white guy who shot a black guy, or a black guy who shot a white guy, or of a different religion, or of a different whatever, they're gonna put that into the hate statistics.
Hate crime.
It'll be a hate crime. Yeah,
you're no more dead because of what their intention was.
Right. Yeah, there was no hate between those people in Seattle at all.
But don't worry,
like,
because the Democrat Socialists of America are going to do away with jails.
That's true.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually. Because once they even out society, once they take your money and they give it to people that don't have any money,
bad people
for whatever reason,
bad people won't do bad things.
Then they'll all be happy. And once they're satisfied,
of course,
then they will no longer feel the need to go out and do drugs and commit crimes.
Mark, I'm so glad you finally get it.
I know. It's taken me a while to arrive at that conclusion.
Exactly.
Then
socialism is bliss.
We won't even need jails even then, because even for the really bad people like the murderers and the rapists and all that, we'll just segregate them in a neighborhood and let them all live together, where I'm sure it'll be peaceful.
Oh yeah, and it'll never spill out into other communities.
They'll have barbecues and have a great time. It'll be fun. All right, back with the buck stops here in just a minute.
Every summer, homeowners make plans. A new grill, a backyard project, a family vacation. But what about the upgrades you'll enjoy every single day? If your windows are drafty, difficult to open, or your entry and patio door has seen better days, now is the perfect time to make a change. Renewal by Andersen makes replacing windows and doors simple with beautifully crafted products, professional installation, and a customer experience that's second to none. And right now, you'll save big. Get $1,000 off your patio or entry door purchase, and take $400 off each replacement window. Plus, when you schedule your appointment before July 12th, you will receive an additional $250 off your entire purchase. All you have to do is dial pound 250. on your mobile phone and say the keyword window to schedule your free window and door diagnosis today. No phone number, no searching online, just pound 250 and the keyword window. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
Hey, Victory Men's Health would love to meet you guys because they're there for you. I had a great conversation with Dr. Yablonsky the other day, who's the chief medical officer for Victory. And, he was just explaining how none of what they do, and this sets them apart from other men's clinics, none of them is like protocol. Do you understand that? They don't have a cookie cutter approach to helping you feel more like you. You come in, you take a blood test. They look at your blood panel. They check your PSA. They check your A1C. They check all of these things that affect your body, and they give you advice on how to make yourself feel better. They can do cancer screenings and cardiovascular screenings, but you need to take the first step by reaching out to them. 4 great locations: O'Fallon, Illinois; O'Fallon, Missouri; Town and Country; and Sunset Hills. Reach out to them today. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Just go online to book your appointment at victorymenshealth.com.
I'm Susan Lee, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Today, we'll find out how much Americans were spending on soft drinks in recent months. Coca-Cola reports earnings. Also, aviation giant Boeing. And after the Wall Street close, Ford Motor Company releases its quarterly numbers. The Federal Reserve's 2-day meeting starts today. Adam Turnquist, chief technical strategist at LPL Financial, says policymakers will be looking at the volatility in crude oil prices.
We have extremely low strategic petroleum reserves that provide little cushion against any prolonged shock. So I think there's enough catalysts there to at least embed a higher floor in the oil market. And I think that's going to weigh on the inflation outlook and continue for this more hawkish regime from the Fed.
Also today, the Conference Board releases its consumer confidence report for July. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda. Invested in you.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you, would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, it's very quiet with the exception of out west at the 64-70 split. We had a ramp closure overnight, and it's still a little bit busy out there, especially southbound 61, right there trying to ramp on to eastbound 70, that sort of thing. Also, the ramp was closed from westbound 64 onto 70, so it's still busy. They're not supposed to pick all that up until 6 o'clock this morning. That is the cause of the delay. Now, throughout the rest of the area, we are in good shape, and that includes if you are headed in or out of Illinois. And we look fine on 55 this morning through multiple construction zones. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. This report, by the way, brought to you by McKelvey Homes.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
All right, tick-tock. It is the 28th day of the month. On the 31st, time runs out, just so you know that. You have 2 days left, basically, to get your name in for the chance to win $5,000 in the Curb Appeal giveaway from the Overhead Door Company. They want to make somebody very, very happy. You can spend that money however you want at Overhead Door with new garage doors, an upgrade on your whole system can be upgraded. Maybe you've been thinking about a new, like a gated entry for your driveway or your neighborhood. If you live on a nice piece of property or a private drive, they can go toward that. It's your choice, but you've got to go to their website in order to win. OverheadDoor, stlewis.com. OverheadDoor, St. Louis. rhino.com, and you've got up, and they're going to draw a winner on July 31st. So the clock is ticking. In the meantime, if your garage door malfunctions, if you need a new opener, if the spring breaks, if the thing's just making a lot of noise, they'd be happy to come out and take care of that. They've been around 100 years now, and there's nobody in town that does it better. It's the original, genuine overhead door company of St. Louis. Check them out online today. Tell them Marc sent you. It's overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
2026 is a big year for America, and we'll be here with you, celebrating every step of the way. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk, sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center. The buck stops here.
All right, today's musical moment is a fun little original song written by a freelance songwriter, Stephen Baird. The song is called Eyes Wide Open. You can find it on X. A song about Stephen's journey of when he used to believe everything mainstream media used to tell him and would feed him, and he just took it as the truth. Well, that was until he opened his eyes to the lies and the deceit. Here's a little clip of the song. Hit it, Ethan.
They can shout, they can twist, they can spin, try to hold you back, it's such a sin. But once you look, you can't unsee. That kind of truth sets your soul free. Corrupt politicians push the party line, pushing agendas every single time. There's power in a question asked. That's how the truth starts breaking glass. Yeah, the fear they use starts losing hold when you think for yourself and you're taking control. Now I'm standing here with my eyes wide open. Ain't no chain on my mind no more. I don't follow every word they're throwing. I don't buy what they're selling. It's broken. I found my ground.
Yeah, the name of the song is Speaking Eyes Wide Open. Again, his name is Stephen Baird. You can hear it. And speaking of eyes wide open, the damn leaks are everywhere, folks. DHS continues to discover more and more states who are guilty of this registering of illegal aliens.
Of course they will.
I didn't realize it. I thought it was just like New Jersey. Oh, no. Chad Meisel was on News Nation yesterday. If you don't know Chad, he's the general counsel for the Department of Homeland Security. He's worked in Trump's DHS for quite a while. He laid out the security and voter integrity issues that many states are guilty of. Blatant fraud being perpetrated against the USA and our election process, not just in New Jersey either. Meisel says it's multiple states. It's an ever-growing list. Listen to what he had to say.
DHS sent a letter to a number of states, including California, New Jersey, Nevada, Pennsylvania, laying out the number of illegal aliens or migrants that they think are on their voter rolls. Just as one example, in California alone, they said 81,000 voters matched the name, date of birth, address, and social security number of an alien in DHS's system.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're talking about a huge number of people. And just to put this in context, let's talk about New Jersey. They said 6,600 individuals were improperly registered to vote. Well, just in recent elections, there were 4 districts where a Democrat defeated a Republican incumbent by less than 900 votes, including a single district decided by about 600 votes where Republicans have held for the last 45 years.
Yeah. So, folks, here's my question. Here's what my whole reason for bringing this up is. Where's the convictions? Do you know it's a federal crime, a felony federal crime to illegally vote in the United States of America? If you fill out a ballot and you are not a legal voter or a legal resident, it can have stiff penalties up to a $100,000 fine, 1 year in jail, and immediate deportation. If you're a green card holder and you vote, you are to be deported. You could spend a year in jail. Not a single person has been convicted yet of any of these crimes.
Had they been charged?
Well, get this.
They're looking into it in New Jersey, right?
Well, the most transparent governor of America, you mean? Mikey Sherrill?
Mikey,
I'm sorry. Mikey Sherrill. She believes that she's the most transparent. That's by the way, I'm not calling her the most transparent. That's what she calls herself. She's refusing to give the 400 names of people that they know voted. You're withholding evidence from the federal government to go prosecute 400 people. Because guess what? Once those prosecutions start, once people start having to pay $100,000 fines and a year in jail, and oh, by the way, immediate deportation after you get out of jail,
yeah,
those illegals ain't going to be wanting.
No.
They're not going to want to be hitting the polling places quite as eagerly. But I haven't heard of a single case of one of these illegal voters being brought up on the federal charge. It's on the books. It is a felony, Class C felony.
They need to enforce
Dude,
that.
they need to get after it. And if they do, I believe it would send a message, very clear message to every illegal in the country: don't vote.
Well,
and if you do, the consequences will be severe.
I'm glad you bring that up, because I was just thinking about that this morning on the drive in here as I was listening to some professor from MIT on the show that precedes us talking about how there's very little evidence that any illegals are registered or impacting elections in America. And I'm like, you're just blowing smoke out your blowhole.
And their favorite
Shut
word
your trap.
is nothing widespread. Well, what's widespread?
Well, they don't want to know the truth. Is the end at the end of the day, right? This guy's claiming any voter in America could go to any election authority and they can observe and they can do this and they can full transparency, but there's not.
There's not. They're not even giving the voter registrations
to the government.
Yes.
All the blue states refuse to give that up because they know what they're going to find.
Oh, yeah, they're going to match.
They know what they're going to find. So my thought on this, as I was thinking about this earlier, is that all you have to do, and I think maybe that's the direction things are going here, is point out what you just pointed out, Dan, and make it very clear that if we find out that you voted in a federal election, you're not only going to be charged with a felony, whatever little nice feathered nest you've made here in America, we're blowing that thing up and we're shipping you back to where you came from.
That's right.
And if they make that clear by charging some people between now and November on Election Day, that might just be a little shot across the bow that would prevent some of these people who know that they've been doing wrong from doing it again.
Yeah, because keep in mind, the 6,600, and that's the only real numbers we've been able to get out of people. Did you hear 81,000 aliens matched up from the DHS rolls of aliens who
that was
are not
one state, wasn't
That was
it?
just California.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and they're saying, so the numbers are going to continue to mount up as they finally get some of these voter rolls and can compare them across, our DHS database. But the point being is those 6,600, they only know of 400 of them who voted. What they don't know is how many people lied on their DMV application and checked the I'm not a resident. Right?
Yeah.
Because these are just the people. The 6,600 is only the people who were honest, who put, I am not a resident.
Yes.
And then they gave them a voter registration. Then 400 of them they know of
How
voted.
many lied?
But how many thousands probably lied and, oh, yeah, I'm a resident. Now I get my voter and I vote. So those people aren't even being showing up on these databases.
This is what the left is so scared of.
And that's why they're
Scared
not
out of their
releasing.
wits
They are
right now.
not releasing any of their voter registrations to the federal government, even though they're running federal elections. Tell me how that's fine.
I love the argument that they're doing it to protect. These blue states are doing it to protect people because the federal government doesn't need all their information like their social security number. And I'm like, that did not just come out of your mouth. Where do you think they got the social security number?
Exactly.
From the federal government. They already know that stuff.
Yeah. It's all out
You're
there.
not protecting anybody.
And if they're here legally, if they're here under a work visa, whatever it might be, that also is already held by the United States government. They just want to know, hey, are you giving them driver's license? Are you giving them trucker licenses? And, oh, by the way, are you letting them register to vote? And in this case, they found 6,600 people who were not only given a voter registration after checking the box, and they're saying it was a computer glitch. The company has come out and said, no, there was no glitch.
There was no glitch.
This was sent to them, and there was nothing that our software did wrong. They elected to send those people voter registrations.
Wow.
Unbelievable. So
Yeah.
anyway, the prosecutions have to start. They've got to get some of these people indicted and make it a very public trial. Let them know if you vote in America and you are not a citizen, you are violating a federal law, and you will be prosecuted for it. That would send a clear message, like you said, especially before November.
Yeah, they need to make that very, very clear.
Yeah.
They need to make it very clear. And I don't even know that they need to go so far as to post ICE agents outside of polling places. But as I said before, if you're going down the highway and you see a police officer parked there and you're doing the speed limit, you don't have anything to worry about. If you're doing 90,
you're tapping the brakes.
Then you're a little nervous, right? So why would you be afraid of an ICE worker being at a polling place?
It wouldn't bother me.
Wouldn't bother me. I've got nothing to fear from
Right.
ICE.
You're right.
I like ICE.
Yeah. Well,
Drink
anyway,
beer. I still drink beer.
I really like Chad Meisel, and he right now seems to be on a war path. Again, let's hope it leads to some indictments. DHS has to start putting some of these people on the trials and jury, and they have no leg to stand on. They have no leg. They wouldn't even have a case. They'd have to plead guilty because they're going to have their voting records, right? So
sure. No,
anyway.
absolutely. This is what I think.
We drank beer, my friends and I, the boys and girls. Yes, we drank beer. I liked beer. Still like beer.
Kavanaugh. All right, we're going to be back in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we just had a report of a chair in a traffic lane. So if you're southbound 270, north of Dorset, be careful in the center lanes. They are on the way to pick that up. Now, generally, we look good at this hour, and that's out west all the way into the Illinois side. So quiet on all fronts. 44 is a good run. 55 looks good. We look fine on the Illinois side at this hour. And they've picked up what they could of the overnight road work out west at 64 and 70 right there at the split. We had some ramp closures overnight. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, stopped by Apache Village yesterday, and wow, what a gorgeous place they've got up there at the new Apache Village in O'Fallon, Missouri. If you haven't been there and you like camping, if you own a camper or you've thought about owning a camper or maybe upgrading, just swing by there one day. Big, spacious area for you to go inside where they've got a store with all the supplies you need. And then just beyond that, wow. Acres of RVs. They got over 300 of them on this lot. I keep using that number, but it's true. New and pre-owned. We bought a pre-owned unit. We downgraded a little bit. Somebody was asking me about it the other day when I was out and about. We downgraded from a 30-foot pull trailer to about a 19-footer. Just from me and my wife. We didn't need anything that big, and it's easier to pull. Whatever fits your lifestyle, they've got it. Voted the top RV dealership in the area by the STL Magazine's A-list, and you'll see why when you go up there. The customer service is second to none. If you buy your RV from Apache Village and something goes wrong just before you're about to take a trip, they're going to prioritize getting your problem fixed so it doesn't interrupt your plans. I love that. That is how you make people happy campers right there. Go. Remember, their original location still open in Hazelwood, and they've got this brand new one out in O'Fallon, just off Highway K and 70. Go online today to avrv.com.
This is a special place, but not by accident. Learn our backstory, and you'll even love America more. Celebrating America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk, I'm Brian Kilmeade.
America 250 is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Industrial automation is complex, but navigating it doesn't have to be. Like a trusted trail guide, Graybar's automation specialists help organizations reduce uncertainty, mitigate risk, and plan their next steps. From evaluating existing systems to connecting you with trusted technologies and business partners, we help future-proof your automation so your team can operate with confidence, today and tomorrow. Yep, Graybar does that.
Every child deserves a childhood. Make-A-Wish creates life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. A wish sparks a ripple of hope that transforms communities far and wide. When we grant wishes together, we create a movement of kindness, strength, and unity. Join us today at wish.org and be part of a journey that truly changes lives.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative.
You know, when somebody tells you who they are, you got to believe them. And I thought of that this morning when I heard this soundbite from a gubernatorial candidate up in Wisconsin. I'm telling you, man, we're losing Wisconsin, and certainly maybe it's not as bad as Minnesota just yet, but headed that direction. Here's this lady. Her name is Francesca Hong, and she is a Democratic Socialist of America candidate for governor in Wisconsin. So she spent about 45 seconds yesterday explaining to the media, kind of mansplaining to people, why you don't really understand socialism. If you understood it, you would understand that it's the greatest system in the world. You just don't understand
great
it. Now,
track
I would
record.
love Francesca to go live in Argentina or Venezuela or somewhere like that for a little while, and maybe Cuba
North
for
Korea.
6 months, North Korea.
Yeah.
Check that out, see how that works out for you. This is how deluded these people are. Listen to Francesca describe why it's other people's perceptions of socialism that are wrong. It's not socialism that is wrong.
The word socialism has become politicized, and the connection to it is about the people who have harmed others through socialism, as opposed to talking about what it is, which is a government that provides the essential public goods and services to help people, live the lives that they want to live. I think democratic socialism is actually more about freedom than any other form of government. And the scariness that surrounds the word really comes from the people who want to maintain the status quo. That is an S word we should be afraid of, because it's been these types of systems and the people who uphold these systems who have led us here. So a new playbook with some new plays and new players, I think, is very sensible. Another S word I would like more associated with the word democratic socialist.
No, freedom. That's her descriptive word to try to describe socialism. That freedom is not what comes to mind when I think of China, Cuba, Vietnam, Laos. I mean, go right down the list. I mean, those are not free nations. They are 100% government dictatorial environments.
It's like your child looking at you at some point with that entitled look on their face, not understanding why you don't want to give them another $100 to go out this weekend and play. They don't understand because they're not mature and they are just living their best life, and they think that you ought to be paying for it. So that's the freedom she's talking about. Once government in this utopia they want to build is providing all of your needs, your medical needs, your schooling needs, your food needs, providing you food and maybe a salary. Once they've met all of your needs, well, you're going to be happy. You're going to be living your best life, and that's freedom, Dan. Don't you understand that?
Yeah,
you shouldn't have to work for that. The government should should confiscate other people's goods and give them to you so that you can live your best life.
And they should be able to dictate what kind of education you get, where you're educated, where you eat, what you eat. I mean, think about the more you turn over to government, that somehow they're going to make better decisions than you can. That's what they're saying. That's exactly what socialists are promoting, that the government can make better decisions for your life than you can make for yourself. Yes. At the end of the day, that is what it's all about, is that government is smarter than you are, and only us can save you from yourself. I mean, it's pathetic.
It's pathetic, and it's very true. And I don't know where it ends. I mean, I thought that the soundbite I played from Stephen Miller earlier, listen to this because he's absolutely correct.
People you mentioned, the names you mentioned, AOC, Bernie, the Squad, Omar, these are people who even 10 or 15 years ago but would have been relegated to the outer extreme fringes of the Democrat Party. They're now the center of the party. They're the heart of the party. They're the soul of the party. So the Democrats have become a party of freaks, weirdos, losers, and crazies. But you can't laugh it off because it's deadly serious. Wow. When you give these people power, everything you know and love in this world falls apart. You have chaos, corruption, decay, violence, poverty.
Yeah, I was going to say violence. I'm like, every nation that has socialism, the violence is what gets them into power. It's going to get there at some point if they continue down this path, because guess what? In America, we're not going to stand for it. There's no way at some point there's going to be pushback that they don't see coming. They'd have to understand that you ain't pulling that stuff and trying to implement and tell Americans that you are taking over their lives. It ain't going to fly.
It's not going to fly.
No.
The people will
but
here's
where I think it's going to go.
How far do they push them is the question.
I think the Democratic Party is going to implode. I think it's going to completely have a break, some type of a separation, and a third party could emerge. I think... And, of course, I don't see that having legs.
It just hurts Democrats.
Oh, totally. But I'm saying Democrats, I know a ton of Democrats who are freaking out about this socialist movement. I mean, you're talking, they're like, are we really going to go down that road? And if that happens and that splits Republicans in power for the next 10 years.
One of our great listeners texted in 314-241-9797, the great Ronald Reagan reminder that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. Boy, that's the truth.
Yep.
All right, more to come in the next hour. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health from Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health from Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill, or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
It's Marc Cox. Celebrate the month of July with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129 and get your air ducts cleaned for $5.99 per unit. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
At a local speed dating event, homeowners weren't looking for love. They were looking for the one.
Honey, I got the best news.
What, you installed all the ceiling fans?
No, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Yeah, oh, you are, but this one is certified, background check, and everyone was fighting over him. Plus, he can install all the ceiling fans.
Okay, who is this guy?
A Jerry Kelly technician.
For heating, cooling, electrical, or plumbing, find the one for your home. Schedule today at
JerryKelly.com. KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
2 world leaders discussing 2 American adversaries. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what'll happen this morning at the White House, where Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will go first and not just talk about the war with Russia. Fox's Jennifer Griffin reports.
Zelensky says he will share evidence with President Trump. Russia is providing Iran satellite imagery of U.S. bases in the Middle East, helping Iran target U.S. troops.
And that Iran conflict will also be a big topic when Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sits down with the president after a 4th straight night without bombing following 13 days of U.S. attacks. Fox's Trey Yanks monitoring from Tel Aviv.
Reports indicate Oman presented a proposal to Iran that would open the Strait of Hormuz. From July 24th to the 26th, 29 vessels passed through this critical waterway, according to international shipping data. President Trump indicated you can't bribe Iran to keep the strait open.
No, you can't bribe them. You got to beat them, and we're beating the hell out of them. But we'll see how it turns out.
Well, that was the president at a rally in Michigan. Later today, he'll speak at Lindsey Graham's funeral.
The casket carrying the late Senator Lindsey Graham will be brought into the Capitol Rotunda for a ceremony. This morning, congressional leaders are expected to speak. And while this event is closed to the public, it will be live streamed. He will then be taken to the National Cathedral for a ceremony there at 2 o'clock.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Zelensky and Netanyahu will attend that service. And later this evening, Zelensky will meet with senators to discuss Ukraine's battle against Russia. And Fox's Chad Pergram reports from the Capitol.
To honor Graham, the Senate will take a test vote tonight on a Russia sanctions bill. Graham secured a deal on sanctions just before he died.
We've got Russia down, and we're choking.
That is Republican Senator John Kennedy. Now, last night, senators gave preliminary approval for Jay Clayton to be the next Director of National Intelligence. That will set up a final confirmation vote for the Trump nominee later this week. America's listening to Fox News.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
For 97.1 FM Talk, I'm Dan Buck. It is 6:03, a balmy 82 degrees. We still have a severe heat warning in effect, but only a high of 93, not 99 like yesterday. A mother and her 7 children wisely escaped flames through the rear of their home in a North St. Louis fire early Monday morning. The Walnut Park East home was fully engulfed when fire crews arrived shortly after 3 a.m., and fire investigators believe that a generator on the front porch led to the fire. St. Louis police arrested a driver after an undercover operation led to a reckless high-speed chase of a silver Corvette. Police say the tire spikes stopped the vehicle and the occupants were arrested, and street takeover promotional items were found inside the car. The seizure is part of a city police effort to stop takeovers and other dangerous activities plaguing city streets. A 24-hour search by 5 different search and rescue teams ended Monday night with the discovery of the missing young man's body in the Missouri River near Defiance. The drowning occurred Sunday evening, and the name of the victim has not been released. A Principia High School employee was charged this week with having sex with a student. Tessa Miller, 32, was charged with 3 counts of sexual contact with a student. Miller works for the school's boarding program. In sports, the Cardinals got out-hit 14-7. They lost to the Cubs 7-3 in Game 1 of their 4-game set. Game 2 tonight at Busch. That's your headlines. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We look really good on the roads at this hour, and that would be both the Missouri and Illinois sides. And hopefully they've removed the chair from the traffic lane. I don't see it on the camera. Southbound 270 north of Dorset. But we're in good shape this morning. 70, 64, 44, all looking good from out west into downtown. We are quiet in general on the Illinois side and looking good on the bridges downtown if you're headed in from Illinois. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they have been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. They do everything from siding to kitchens, and they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's still a hot and humid day on this Tuesday, but a cool front is coming through. Partly sunny skies, a couple of spot storms. Again, still humid, still warm, 93 degrees, so a little bit better than the last 2 days. Tonight, some clouds, some spot thunderstorms, 71. Wednesday, the northwest flow takes hold. Sunny skies, lower humidity, better temperatures, 89. Do that again on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's 6:06, 82 degrees. Again, a reminder that extreme heat warning remains in effect with a high today of about 93. Don't forget, you can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show and all the great shows of 97.1 FM Talk anytime and anywhere you go by downloading that free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Good morning to you. Are we about to get a little break from that heat? Boy, it's about time. Even a degree or two would be a huge difference.
Hey,
after
we're 5 degrees
yesterday.
Cooler today, I think. It's
How
only
about
like
that?
93 for the high today.
Yeah.
What a
I
cool.
I heard Mark Reardon's show yesterday afternoon as I was out running some errands, and he was complaining about how cold it was in the studio. He goes, it's 66 degrees in the studio. Wait a minute, he said. Let me stop myself. I don't want to show my privilege here because I know there are a lot of people working out in this who are having to sweat their rear ends off.
That's a first world problem, buddy.
So we are not complaining about the fact that it's nice and cool here in the studio, right, Ethan?
I got to agree with Mark, though, because me and Mark sit right under where the
vent
blows down. So
yes,
it gets cold.
That's all right.
It wouldn't be bad if it was just it's just nonstop blowing on us over here.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know the highs this weekend?
No.
Saturday, Sunday, 78, 78. The
No
highs.
kidding.
Those are the highs.
Oh, that's going to be gorgeous.
Morning lows in the mid-60s.
Wow.
Nice.
Be a great weekend for camping, wouldn't it?
Yes, it will.
Yeah,
Now, a lot of rain.
Ooh.
There is a lot of rain forecasted with those temps. But
yeah.
that's okay. My yard needs that too. So
The chickens are coming home to roost when you're getting temperatures like that in July. No doubt about
that's
it.
nice. But it's like there's not a 90 to be seen all the way through next Wednesday. It's all in the
all right.
80s, so we can handle it. One more day. Hang in there, people.
That's right.
That's right.
That's Dan. He's in here for Kim St. Ange all week. We appreciate that, helping us out. And coming up, we're going to talk to John Lamping, one of our favorite guests. He, of course, is the former Missouri senator and always talks such good common sense about what's going on in Missouri politics. But, of course, we got election is coming up 1 week from today, if you can believe it. It'll be August 4th. And I know people are already voting. Remember the voter guide, 971talk.com. It's out there for you. It's you go to the website, you go to the Facebook page. I posted it on X. There's no excuse for you not to be informed by the time you vote, whenever that is between now and next Tuesday. Now, interesting article I've got this morning is about Prop U in St. Louis County. That's one of these propositions. If you're scratching your head and saying, gee, Mark, which one's that one? Well, you could always read the voter guide. Or I can just tell you it's the one where the very piss-poor management of St. Louis County has come home to roost, and they're broke because they don't spend money wisely. They waste money on a lot of pet projects. Not a surprise, kind of going the same direction as St. Louis City. And the Democrats that have been in charge of the council budget process for the past 8 or 10 years have completely failed you. So they're coming back to the voters asking for you to raise taxes. They're always trying to figure out a new way to raise some taxes. Here we are having a debate about whether or not we end the income tax, and everybody's freaked out because sales taxes might go up. St. Louis County is currently asking you to raise your sales tax.
Not a little bit. Like 3.5%.
3.5% on any purchase you make on the internet. That internet purchases is where this would come down. And it would raise $140 or $150 million a year for the county budget. That is what they're estimating. And apparently the funding for it has fizzled. And that's one of the reports I've got this morning. We'll talk some of that over with John Lamping here at the bottom of the hour. So be sure and stay tuned for that. Next hour, we'll get to our friend Todd Piro, who I just saw on Fox News this morning a few minutes ago, reporting on that Brian Kohberger case. So we'll get to Todd before too awful long. First, though, if you don't mind, Ethan, let's go ahead and get to some of our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
On the Senate, on the SAVE Act, why do you want the U.S. Senate to stay in town? Shouldn't they be out across the country?
What a stupid question for you to ask. What a stupid question. For Jennifer to ask such a stupid, she's a smart person. I knew her all the way back in the Iowa days when she said Trump's going to win. And boy, was she right. So listen.
Oh, this is such a typical Trump response to that. What a stupid question. Why do you think I want the Senate to stay in Washington and not go on vacation for a month? Because they haven't done their jobs.
That's right.
If you don't do your job, you can't go on vacation. This isn't a union job. Get it done.
How is Thune holding up? I don't know.
I spoke with the mayor of New York and convinced him based on what I was saying publicly. My conversation tonight to close NYC schools. I had a similar call for the chief of staff of the governor of California. She said based on my TV appearances today and yesterday, the governor will close schools in California. But then Fauci later said he never wanted schools closed.
Yeah, how about that? That's Mark Meredith reading some of Fauci's private diary where he was saying something very different than what he was saying on TV to you and to me.
Europe is being taken over by the Chinese cars. You know that, right? Mercedes-Benz is being absolutely decimated. BMW, good companies, decimated. Volkswagen, decimated. They don't do anything about it.
They don't. Donald Trump talking yesterday in Michigan about what he's done for the car industry. All these new plants that are being built, they're being brought back to the United States, largely because of his trade policy is exactly why. And he also pointed out that there's not a single Chinese car being sold in America right now. And they're all over Europe. And they've got a big problem with that over there because they're dirt cheap and mostly made with slave labor.
I'm feeling good about Troy Jackson. You'll get to talk to him in just a minute. You'll see why I'm feeling good. He's the right guy for Maine.
Boy, Liz Warren. Remember the last time she said that was about Graham Plattner.
My kind of guy.
He's my kind of guy. And now he's gone because of rape allegations. And now Troy Jackson is the right man for the job.
Show us your tattoos. No.
Why does anybody even look at Elizabeth Warren or Chuck Schumer? They're like Nancy Pelosi. When their lips are moving, they're lying. And how can anybody take her seriously after her full-throated endorsement of Graham Plattner?
At that same rally, the guy who's apparently ahead of the Democratic Party in Maine got up there and he spent the first minute naming all the tribes of the lands that they were currently on.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there going, dude, just give up your house, give up your land. Why aren't you just giving it back to them? I mean, either that or just be quiet. Stop talking about it. I'm so tired of this Native American
the woke crowd. I know.
We must recognize that we're on their land. No,
Stolen
it's
land.
not. Yeah. Well, and who did they steal it from when they took it over, right? Somebody at some point they took it from. So it's all. I don't know how you could still be in that party and be of common sense. I mean, they've lost their freaking minds on so many issues. But Elizabeth Warren, you're right. What credibility does she have on any issue?
Pocahontas, speaking of Native
speaking
Americans.
of Native America. Oh, I tied it together.
Dan.
Yes, thank you.
I like that.
I was going there.
I love that. It's true, though. I had to play that when I heard it because I'm like, so now you've decided he's your kid. This is your guy.
This is your guy.
You care. All of them. Chris Van Hollen.
Forget what I told you last month.
Oh, my goodness. All of them would sell their soul to the devil to get control of the U.S. Congress back again so they could try to persecute, prosecute, stop Donald Trump. And you have to ask yourself, what are they so afraid of? So for all of you liberal trolls out there that are trolling me on the text line this morning and elsewhere, what were they so afraid of in 2016 that they had to cheat to get him out of office in 2020? What were they afraid of? They're afraid, just like the establishment that still exists within the FBI, of him threatening. He's already cut off USAID. Do you know how many hundreds of millions of dollars they were filtering, scrubbing through USAID to come back into Act Blue? And there's all kinds of evidence that money was coming back to the United States to support Democrat causes.
Yeah, and that's why the Democrats right now are broke.
They can't. They are absolutely.
They're broke.
They can't even pay their debts right now, and the Republicans are sitting on a war chest of like $140, $150 million.
Yeah, and they haven't really
sitting on it.
Yeah. They don't even think they'll spend half of it. So they're going to be in the red. In the black, while the Democratic Party is completely dismantled because they're not seeing all of this Act Blue money that was just being filtered back to them from USAID. And there's absolutely direct ties to that.
What are they afraid of? That's the question you have to ask yourself. All right, we'll get to a quick break. We'll be back in just a minute.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we look good as far as the commute goes this morning. Quiet through North County, no problems there on westbound 270. Northbound 55 has multiple construction zones. Still looking good, though, at this hour. And things look great. Eastbound 6440, 70, 44. A nice kind of summer traffic start here. And we're quiet on the Illinois side as well. So if you are headed out, things look great. This report brought to you by i3 Broadband. Summer celebrations are here, and i3 Broadband keeps you connected. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 1-866-806-5485 to upgrade today because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you. Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Today, the Cards, the Cubs. Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Trisha Burns never answers the call. Trisha Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Trisha Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Trisha Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Trisha Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Trisha Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job. Cut the Bullpack paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
Marc Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, to learn how to create your worry-free retirement. We'll meet August 11th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the strategies that give you market growth but protects you from market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get a free personalized retirement income plan? And did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to create a worry-free retirement. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, August 11th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The time now is 6:20, and this time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. Are the St. Louis City Police doing anything about teen takeovers? Dan and Mark are going to talk about it in the St. Louis Morning Brief.
St. Louis Morning Brief.
Well, as we just teased, the police arrested a Chevy Corvette that was apparently doing donuts and guys hanging out of the Corvette in downtown yesterday. A high-speed chase ensued. It was all part of a sting operation to go after specific individuals who they know are leading some of these takeovers. The high-speed chase ended when they put down some driving, what do you call them?
Rumble strips?
Yeah, the tire spikes.
Tire spikes.
They spiked the car. They found all kinds of leaflets and pamphlets and promotional materials inside the car promoting a takeover that was coming up in a week or so. Now, there was also some social media buzz around a supposed takeover of the St. Louis Zoo today, that a bunch of teenagers were going to crash the zoo at 2 o'clock today. I'm sure there's going to be a heavy police presence there because it kind of got out in social media and some news channels reported on it. I think there was on Rumble. It was on different places.
If you're watching on the Window World webcam this morning, the takeover, they posted this all over the place that on the 8th of August, which is a Saturday at 2 p.m., they're going to take over the St. Louis Zoo. Now, I mean, if you
I thought it was supposed to be today.
No, if you give people enough, you give the cops that much warning, they'll have that place locked down.
At least you would hope so.
Sort of like the thing you'd kind of want to do at the spur of the moment. If you're telling them I'm doing it a week and a half out, it loses the effectiveness, I would think. Plus, what's this old school thing of having pamphlets in the car? Don't they do everything via social media these days?
Well, apparently they said this was all marketing materials they had to try to give it to other, rowdies and friends of theirs to be there and
spread it around.
And these, I don't know about you, but these burnouts and these things are in every community now. It's not like, I don't know whether these teenage kids with their, souped up cars think it's cool to go driving through neighborhoods at high speeds or take over an intersection and do donut after donut.
Sure.
But I mean, there are reports all over the country of kids being killed, of deaths. I saw a pickup truck hit a fire hydrant the other day. It caused a huge. Anyway, they fined him $10,000 plus he has to pay for the damages to the fire hydrant. I mean, there's got to be some mechanisms of prosecution or some type of tougher laws that have to be written against these kinds of dangerous types of events. And people say, oh, they're just kids being kids. I don't ever remember having that kind of a reckless takeover of a community. And I mean, I was a pretty rowdy teenager, and we did some things, but it was always on an abandoned country road somewhere, right?
Biggest thing we took over was McDonald's on a Friday night.
Yeah, but hanging out.
I know, hanging out with your buddies,
your
right?
car parked there. Occasionally a fight would break out, whatever. But it was not like what we're seeing today of just high-speed violence is what I would call it.
Were you ever involved in one of those, Dan?
What?
One of those fights that broke out.
I might have. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was always the rural kids against the city kids. That's kind of, it was, but it was, and it was real fights. It was just like two guys squaring off. Nobody could get involved. You squared off, whoever won, and it was over. But now it's
you mean nobody pulled a knife or a gun and shot the other one? I mean,
or it became 30 people getting involved, or somebody jumping one guy and having 6 people. Yeah. You see these guys getting jumped, where it's 6-7 people beating up on a guy. Really, that makes you feel proud? That 6 of you could take one guy. It's ridiculous, some of these beatdowns that you're seeing on the internet.
Well, maybe I haven't heard of any new proposals, but there could have been some that I missed to try to regulate that a little more.
Well, apparently that the city is saying they do have now a special task force involved in just trying to find these takeovers before they happen and try to intervene. So
I saw where Salt and Smoke is going to close 2 of its locations, which bummed me out. One of them is by my old house in Ellisville, and I've eaten there a number of times. It's outstanding. And they're closing the one on Hampton.
That surprised me.
They had expanded to 8 locations a while back, and I guess it just got to be a little too much, or they weren't making the amount of money they needed, so they're going to close 2 of them. 6 will remain open.
So Hampton and Ellisville, right?
Hampton and Ellisville locations are closing.
Okay.
And August 1st.
August 1st. Man, that's quick.
Coming up.
Yeah. Well, another story that we were covering earlier, the Principia High School employee, yet another child molestation case. The child in question, or the teenager in question, was a high school senior at the time of the assault, which occurred this spring, apparently, and there's 3 counts. He has openly admitted that there was sexual relations with this worker. She has been identified as the suspect in the case. Her name is Tessa Miller. She was 32, and she worked in the school's boarding program. So it was a resident of the school. They have a pretty large boarding program where people live on campus and attend that high school. But
not a teacher, but just an employee of the school.
Exactly. Court records show that the offenses happened between March and May, and the investigation has been going on since May. Charges were just filed yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tough, man. And you start thinking about school programs, and how often does this happen and not get reported? I saw Tim Tebow the other day show a map. Have you ever seen his child molestation map of the child abuse?
No.
It's got 1.2 million dots on it. The number of offenses that they have documented, and AI helped find all of these documented cases. Then he had blue dots that you couldn't even see because there's so few of them, of convictions for those crimes. So all of these children who have been molested, over 1.2 million children in the United States who have been molested, and only a few thousand of them have been settled in cases where they were actually charged and
prosecuted,
and the molester.
How is that?
Well, that's what he's asking. I mean, he is a big proponent for going after child molesters, and and somebody posted on our Facebook page. They're saying, when are we going to see the public executions? I mean, if you have if you saw so many, let's say somebody had 30 offenses, which many of these molesters have. By the time they're caught, they find out that there's 30, 40 victims. How often does that happen? And is there not have to be some heavier penalties for some of these convicted molesters. It's just ridiculous what they're getting away with.
If it's going to be a deterrent, it needs to be carried out. That's the biggest problem with the death penalty.
Yeah.
Got all these do-gooders that stop them before they ever happen, and then it never serves as a deterrent because nobody believes it's going to happen.
Yep.
All right, coming up, we will get to our friend John Lamping. We'll talk more about the election 1 week from today.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We have had a really good commute so far this morning. Now, there's a little bit of volume on eastbound 70 headed for Wright City in the construction zone there with some volume. And once you get to Wright City, things open up into downtown. 64 looks great from out west into downtown. 44 is in good shape. There's a little bit of volume eastbound Highway 30 at 270. 270 northbound, though, it still looks good. And we are quiet on the bridges and on the Illinois side in general. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Bill Hemmer, and these are the most impactful moments in American history. October 14th, 1947, from a Boeing B-29 bomber, U.S. Air Force pilot Chuck Yeager descended into the Bell X-1, a sleek orange plane which he dubbed the glamorous Glennis. At 20,000 feet, the X-1 launched from the B-29 and soared 30,000, 40,000, 42,000 feet into the sky. Yeager accelerated faster until Chuck Yeager reached Mach 1.06 and broke the sound barrier. It was a flight many believed to be impossible, but Chuck Yeager's historic achievement helped Americans reach new heights and test new limits.
America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk, sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
When it comes time to buy new flooring for your home, where are you going to go? I know the answer. You're going to go to Michael's Flooring Outlet because you've heard me talk about it all these years. And if you've never been in there, you'll see the difference when you walk in the door. You're not going to get jumped on by 15 employees. That's not how they work at Michael's. They love to help you. They're going to ask you some basic questions of what it is you're after. We went in looking for new carpet one time and decided we were going to do like a couple of different colors on the runner that went up the steps. And they talked us out of that because they said that is the highest, travel area in your house, probably, or one of them anyway. And that is not a good color combination to use in that spot. And we went with something completely different. So this is the kind of advice I've relied on over the years from Michael's. I think you're going to get the same great advice. I've got lots of listeners and family members that have gone there over the years. Visit them there in Old Town St. Peters or Darden Prairie, or west on Olive there in St. Louis County, just west of 270, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Or go to their website. They'll be happy to bring samples of whatever you're looking for right to your house. They'll measure for you. You can look at it under your lights. They want to make it as easy as possible. Go online today. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. It's igotfloor.com.
If you've been thinking about refinancing, don't let the cost of an appraisal hold you back. This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. For a limited time, Golden Oak is offering a credit of up to $600 towards your appraisal at closing. Call today for a free mortgage checkup and see if you could lower your payment, pay off high-interest credit card debt, or put your home's equity to work. But apply by July 31st.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
The radical left let crime and drugs pour into our nation, and they let biological men into girls' sports. But here in Missouri, if there's a problem, we fix it. That's why Ann Wagner's fixing the mess the radical left made and delivering for us. Wagner voted to ban biological men from competing in girls' sports, and she voted to fund the police and provide more resources for Border Patrol agents, keeping our families, communities, and children safe. And Ann Wagner didn't stop there. In Congress, Wagner passed the largest working-class tax cut in American history, kept big government out of our business, protected our way of life, and ensured our communities remain safe. That's why Ann Wagner's endorsed by the Missouri Farm Bureau and Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Ann Wagner for Congress on August 4th.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. When you're seriously injured in a car accident, insurance adjusters are not on your side. They're known as insurance adjusters because they're always adjusting the settlement offers lower and lower. At Kaufman Townsley, we'll get your settlement higher and higher, the maximum money you deserve. How? Because we fight. No one deserves to be victimized twice by the negligent driver and the insurance company. Call Kaufman Townsley at 314-777-7777.
250 years of capitalism, private ownership, and rugged individualism. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction.
People keep looking to government for the answer, and government's the problem. Government would shut the doors and sneak away for about 3 weeks. We'd never miss them.
Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want?
John Lamping back with us this morning, former Missouri State Senator, and love having him on every Tuesday morning. John, how are you?
I'm doing great. Nice to be with you and Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to have you on here. I noticed one of the lead stories on Channel 4 yesterday was Governor Kehoe, who's been out talking about Amendments 4 and 5 ahead of the election a week from today. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's fine that he was out doing that. I would suggest that for Amendment 5, I think it's lost. It's not really even close. I think all the polling normally in a vote like an amendment vote like this, where you're trying to get to a yes in your polling, you really need to be at 50 to 55% where it's a yes in order to ensure the fact that you would actually get to a yes on the day of the voting. In this case, I don't think that Amendment 5 is polling even in the low 40s. And I think the best evidence of how bad Amendment 5 is polling, over the weekend there was a debate, online debate amongst the St. Charles County executive candidates, the three candidates that are running for the Republican Party for St. Charles County. And when asked which of the three are going to be voting for supporting Amendment 5, none of the three were willing to publicly support Amendment 5. So they're all heavily polling. They know, and think about it, St. Charles County is a heavily Republican county, and none of the candidates that are running for the county executive are behind Amendment 5. So, post-mortem, a week out, we'll have a lot of things we can discuss and talk about why it came to be. But I think, barring some kind of crazy miracle, I think Amendment 5 is going to have a difficult time next Tuesday. And unfortunately, with Amendment 4, most of the groups that are against 5 are also publicly against 4. So it may very well be that they both go down.
Wow, that's disturbing to me. I mean, so in your opinion, what could they have done differently to talk about eliminating the state income tax that would appeal to the very people whose entire existence is about, if you're a conservative, you stand for smaller government and less intrusion into your life. These are the people that represent Republicans in St. Charles County and elsewhere in the state. I've got people who claim to be very conservative who are texting me and saying, I'll never support Amendment 5, but it's a tax increase. Well, taxes are going to go up in sales taxes. They're going to go down in income taxes. The Hancock Amendment is still in effect.
Right.
It's not an overall tax increase. I don't. What else could have been done here, John?
Well, I have two thoughts. One is that the answer might be nothing else could have been done, because the fact of the matter is that if you think of people that pay the state income tax are out working, and so people state government is primarily funded by income taxes, but only about 55% of the people are paying state income taxes. So you've got the rest of the people are kind of in the state, are in the wagon, that is state government, and the people pulling the wagon are the people that are paying state income taxes. And what Amendment 5 suggested was that everybody in the state pay an equal share or all pay the same type of taxes, which in this case would be sales tax or use tax. So the people that aren't paying state income tax, of course they don't want their taxes to go higher. The people that are paying the state income tax are paying an overwhelmingly large percentage of the total taxes. And so maybe nothing could have been done. But now I'll set that aside, and there's a bunch of things that could have been done. So, for example, Governor Kehoe suggests that he campaigned on eliminating the state income tax. And I guess maybe he did. He campaigned on all kinds of things. And but that being the case, it's been a year and a half he's been governor. He should have been campaigning on this idea from the very beginning, because it's a very heavy lift. We all agree that if we had eliminated the state income tax, it'd be very good for the long-term economic health of the state. But Governor Kehoe didn't campaign at all until the legislature actually passed something this year. And I would also suggest that what came out of the General Assembly, what is Amendment 5 today, is very flawed. And you may recall that the House took its time and had a very deliberate bill. It was very specific. It would suggest exactly how some taxes would go up, given certain increases in revenue and all that kind of stuff. Very specific. And on a Monday afternoon, the Senate took up the House bill, substituted it for a bill that no one had ever seen before, and passed it that night. And that is Amendment 5.
Yeah, it's way too vague. I mean, people don't know what the replacement's going to be, and I think that's what's hurt this campaign a ton. Is like, well, the speculation of what might happen is what people are fearful of, right? They didn't define out what the replacement was going to be.
Exactly. So, I mean, if it were my campaign and I were serious about passing this legislation this August, I would have been campaigning for the last year and a half. And what the version of what Amendment 5 should be would have been something that would have been agreed upon even a year and a half ago, long before it actually was voted on in the House and the Senate. So, this looks a lot to me like a big box was checked. It's like, yes, I'm for eliminating the income tax. I will propose a way to eliminate the income tax. I support eliminating the income tax. If you'll notice, every elected official all the statewide elected officials. They're all for eliminating the income tax. Well, guess what? None of them are up for election other than the auditor this time around. So you've got all of the congressional delegation, the senators are all for eliminating the income tax, but they're not going. They're not facing the voters this August and this November, and all the people that are running for office, like the St. Charles County executive candidates, they won't talk about it. That's how bad the amendment itself is. It has been both drafted, and then the campaign for its passage is doing that poorly.
John, let's talk about 4 for just a minute, because both Marc and I and many of my Republican friends have talked about this. Why did they go with an 8-0 where you had to carry all 8 congressional seats versus a majority of the congressional seats? I think a lot of people feel like you box out both people. You box out the Democrats, yes, by making it 8-0, but you also box out us from ever getting an 8-0 because Kansas City and St. Louis would block anything. It's like you've completely eliminated the opportunity. Why was that never discussed, of making that threshold be maybe a little thinner, making it a 5-3 majority requirement of the congressional districts?
Well, Dan, that's a very good question. The need for initiative petition reform is extreme. That we've become the testing ground for multi-billion-dollar pools of capital to change our Constitution. Our Constitution is the size of 3 or 4 phone books. For your listeners that don't know, phone books used to be where all our phone numbers were.
Yeah, right.
But again, so Jefferson City, Dan, it's a real diabolical place. So, and there's some very smart people in the Capitol, away from the elected officials, and in knowing that initiative petition reform is something that was coming, and you're thinking, if you're against it, like, how do I stop this? Well, you can stop it with a campaign and the vote in August, but you can also stop it by getting a really stupid version or stupid idea about initiative petition through the House and the Senate. See, what's interesting to me, to answer your question directly, is that I don't know why that we all agree that this version of the Amendment 4 is also flawed. One of the things, too, that really bothered me was that the threshold for the legislature's initiative petitions, the legislature can put things on the ballot, too, its threshold remained the same. So you would have where initiative petitions that come through the legislature would be the same easy way of passing, where you're right. Essentially, we would have eliminated initiative petitions for the public under this version of Amendment 4. So, there's, like I said, postmortem. It's funny. Postmortem, you'll look at this and say, who's responsible in the Capitol for bringing up having these 2 versions of these amendments be on the ballot? They're both greatly flawed. No one will take. No one will be the fall guy for this. It'll just be. We listen to. You'll hear a lot of, well, the people spoke, and therefore we can't go forward. But it's really been kind of a disaster in terms of what's actually on the ballot, and it's discouraging. And we need to change initiative petition for sure. We'll continue to see these multi-million-dollar out-of-state funded amendment changes, but you only get an opportunity to do big things like Amendment 5, eliminating the income tax, every so often. My hope would be is that when they come back next year, they just say, well, fine, then we're just going to cut taxes. We're just going to cut the income tax rate, at an accelerated rate, and we'll wake us up when it gets to 0. We'll see what happens when we get there. But
that'd be awesome.
Ideally, right?
Yeah, ideally.
All right,
but I'm still yes on 4 though. Yeah, I think it's important that, like, if you have to have a choice of whether or not anybody can change the Constitution or whether nobody, I'd rather have nobody. Just because the Republicans aren't using this tool anyway. It's always these Democratic initiatives and radical positions. Wouldn't you agree with that, John?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I actually think that, it's not even our form of government. I mean, if you think we're supposed to be electing representatives to represent us and our interests, it's not supposed to be a vote of the people and, the majority rule. Think about how hard it is to change the federal Constitution, and then think about how easy it is to change ours. Yeah. I'd like to have even just half of the threshold that is the federal level. So, Yeah, you can vote. You can. I'm voting yes for both. I expect 5 to fail pretty miserably, and the reality is 4 probably will too, because it's tied so closely to 5 in opposition groups.
Yep. John, thank you for your time.
I'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Take care.
We appreciate you. Yep. Good to get him on here this morning. It's sad if he's right about that. I hope he's not. But
I've seen the same polls. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. You're either conservative or you're not, and maybe that changes as you get older.
Well, and it's lesser of the two evils, right?
Well, thank you.
I mean, that's what it is. If you have a choice of having it 8-0 or be the way it is now, I'd much rather have it be 8-0. I mean, and change that later.
And on 5, remember when Republicans used to be against taxes?
Yeah, that's right.
And now apparently we want to keep them. How about that? All right, we'll get to a quick break. We got in other news for you coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. We've got road work causing delays on eastbound 70 east of Warrenton. So look for a slowdown there and a little bit of a slowdown southbound 61 at 64 this morning. Northbound 270, slow pockets. It's mainly moderate volume, but it does stretch from Doherty Ferry through the Clayton Road overpass. And we look good on 55. We look good through North County. And we're still quiet on the bridges if you are headed in from Illinois. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
All right, Home Shield Foundation Repairs does a bunch of different things. All of them come back to your foundation. They can help level it out, and they can help you repair it if it's cracked, whether that is in your basement floor, your garage floor, or the walls of your basement. And I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating. Matt Hayes tells me that, you live on top of, if you have a basement, you live on top of an empty pool. Water is trying to find a way in there. And when it does, it's not always surprising. And sometimes there's an easy fix, but you don't know till you make the phone call. So what you want to do is have somebody you can trust giving you that information and knowing that they're not there just trying to kind of beat you up and get some extra revenue out of it or an extra job. So you call Matt at 314-271-9900. He's going to come over and give you the truth about what's going on. And if you've got a crack in the wall, he'll fix the crack and not try to sell you something you don't need, which happens with some of these bigger corporate-owned foundation companies these days. Work with a local family-owned company. That's Matt Hayes. He'll give you 2 years, same as cash financing if you qualify. 314-271-9900, online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings, and what does America mean to me here on our 250th birthday? The future of Western civilization. The future of human liberty. That is what is at stake in our world right now.
America 250 is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Trisha Burns never answers the call. Trisha Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Trisha Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Trisha Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Trisha Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Trisha Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job. Cut the Bull PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
Men, are you just not feeling it? Could be your testosterone. U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. Check out the testimonials at usmensmedicalcenter.com. Patients are excited about feeling great, having energy, improved libido. Plus, they love the staff and the fact that they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 6 636-244-5333. USMen'sMedicalCenter.com.
License number GL250000615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
All right, I'm actually excited about soccer. I know that's a shocker to people out there that Mark's excited about soccer because I generally don't like soccer, but I loved Ted Lasso. I loved that show so much, and I was so sad when it kind of ended, but it's coming back for another season. They had the premiere the other night in L.A., and they put out a bunch of pictures from, Jason Sudeikis and the others who showed up yesterday for the cast showed up for the premiere. Apparently August 5th, if you're paying attention here, is when that's going to come out. I think it's on Apple TV, but you can watch new episodes dropping every Wednesday after next Wednesday, August 5th.
Wow.
Very exciting.
I love the first series.
I loved that show. I don't know why. And I learned more. I told somebody I learned more about soccer watching Ted Lasso than I ever knew before.
Yeah, Ted Lasso learned a lot about soccer, too, in that show.
Soccer
he was a football coach, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Hey, here's a great story kind of in the shadow of our 250th birthday of our nation. Apparently, a private John Pumphrey with a P, John Pumphrey was a teenage soldier who died in one of the very last battles of the American Revolution. He now is going to be put to rest.
Where did they find him?
Wow.
DNA of a linked body. They found a body in a burial ground.
Okay.
And forensics company came in. They did the DNA testing. Well, apparently, John had brothers who had children who were still alive. They did DNA testing and linked it back to him. So he finally gets proper burial. He's going to have his own resting place now.
I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, a neat story. So everyone now knows who Private John Pumphrey was, killed in one of the last Revolutionary battles.
This is a great story out of Hawaii. I don't know if you heard this or not. There was an 83-year-old widow. She has a house, and she used to rent out an extra room she had to help cover her taxes and all that stuff on her house. Well, it accidentally went out on the rental page online as available for short-term stays, which is not allowed by her town. So they started fining her $10,000 a day for nearly 2 months. She had $600,000 in fines.
Wow.
She was in the hospital after a car crash, so she didn't see the original notification. And she went to court and sued, and they came back and ruled in her favor and said the city was wrong for what they did. That's good, man.
That's justice.
There's a little justice for you. How about that?
Awesome.
All right. Next hour, we'll get to Todd Piro and my friend Mark Walters for 2A Tuesday. Stay tuned.
Hey, it's Annie, and I'm here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. Stewie, if there's one thing I know, it's that people are looking for cash right now. And the mortgage being the biggest bill that most people have, is it the right time to refinance or even just restructure their current mortgage?
You know what, Annie? My wife came over to me yesterday and said, you know what, honey? I love you, and your love gives me thrills, but unfortunately, it don't pay my bills. So here's what we're going to do. Do the bagel loan. If you financed your house over the last 3 years, rates are lower today than they've been over that period of time. Call me. We can refinance, save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. Now, many people out there think they have a low rate, but maybe you're paying the PMI or maybe you have an FHA loan. You have to look at the total picture, and that's a mistake people make. They say, hey, I'm in a great position. I can't do better. Wrong. 9 out of 10 people that call us with the same conversation, hey, I'm just calling you just to see, we end up refinancing them and saving them lots of money.
Call Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, and remember the bagel loan, no closing costs. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
If you're a business or brand that's still paying for ads people skip or ignore, that's cute. Try a new method of advertising your customers can't mute. Join our mobile movement so you don't get left in our dust, because stationary billboards are a bust. Big, bold, loud, and in-your-face advertising that doesn't wait for traffic. We drive through it, bringing your business or brand right to your customers' eyes. You can't delete it, you can't trash it or swipe right. Hell, you can't even ignore it. The answer? The moving billboards, baby. We circulate around any high-traffic venue, capturing people's attention when they're making decisions. Inside stadiums, big brands compete for attention, but outside the stadium, we own the street media. Because in a world that's went mobile, your advertising should too. Try moving billboards. They really work. PinkTiger.ai.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC. Marc Ellinger, Treasurer.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Saying goodbye to a late senator. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. They'll do that this morning and then this afternoon in Washington, honoring Lindsey Graham. In about a half hour,
a hearse will bring Graham's flag-draped casket here. It's one final visit for Graham to Capitol Hill. They will honor him with a ceremony in the Rotunda.
That's Fox's Chad Pergram at the Capitol, where senators may vote later today on a Russia sanctions bill Graham had been pushing. The Republican hoped it could end the war in Ukraine, and Graham discussed it with NATO's leader before he died. Marc Rutte just told Fox.
Ukraine is exceeding our expectations. And what we now need to do is what he and I agreed upon is for Putin to end the bloodbath and to come to the negotiating table. It is really crucial.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will also meet with senators tonight after he attends Graham's funeral this afternoon at Washington's National Cathedral. Next hour, Zelensky will meet with President Trump, and then after that, another leader who will attend Graham's funeral goes to the White House for talks with the president. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
The pair are slated to discuss the war with Iran and the next steps in this conflict. President Trump spoke from Air Force One on Monday, indicating the Iranians requested to meet following the 13-day U.S. bombing campaign. Axios reports that President Trump says he is ready for strong military action if talks fail.
That's Fox's Trey Yingst, Tel Aviv. As the pause in U.S. attacks on Iran continues, oil prices, they're down about 1% this morning. The price of the gas pump's down a penny. Japan got rocked with an earthquake, and the USGS says it was a magnitude 6.8 in the Kumamoto region.
Prime Minister Sane Takaichi says there are early reports of injuries plus damage to roads, bridges and buildings. She says people's lives are the top priority, warning residents that strong aftershocks pose an additional risk. We're hearing multiple people are trapped inside a shopping mall and 40,000 people have lost power.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin, thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
For 97.1 FM Talk, I'm Dan Buck. It is 83 degrees at 7:03, and again, a heat advisory is in effect for today with a high expected around 93. A mother and her 7 children wisely escaped flames through the rear of their home in North St. Louis. Monday morning, the Walnut Park East home was fully engulfed when fire crews arrived shortly after 3 a.m. Fire investigators believe a generator on the front porch led to the fire, but said the mother wisely led the children out of the back of the home or it could have been fatal. St. Louis police arrested a driver after an undercover operation led to a reckless high-speed chase of his silver Corvette. Police used tire spikes to stop the vehicle, and the occupants were arrested. A street takeover, promotional items were found throughout the car. The seizure is part of a city police effort to stop takeovers and other dangerous activities that are plaguing city streets. A 24-hour search by 5 different search and rescue teams ended Monday night with the discovery of the missing young man's body in the Missouri River near Defiance. The drowning occurred Sunday evening, and the name of the victim has not yet been released. A Principia High School employee was charged this week with having sex with a student. Tessa Miller, 32, was charged with 3 counts of sexual contact with a student. Miller worked for the school's boarding program. And in sports, the Cardinals got out-hit 14-7. They lost to the Cubs 7-3 in Game 1 of their 4-game set. Game 2 is tonight at Busch Stadium. That's your headlines. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Pretty nice commute here this morning. Now, if you are eastbound on 70, things have improved east of Warrenton. We had some road work delays out there earlier, and we still have a little bit of moderate volume along northbound 270 at Doherty Ferry. 55, though, is looking good at this hour. We're quiet through North County, looking good on the Illinois side as well, and especially good on the bridges downtown. No delays through there at this hour. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's still a hot and humid day on this Tuesday, but a cool front is coming through. Partly sunny skies, a couple of spot storms. Again, still humid, still warm, 93 degrees, so a little bit better than the last 2 days. Tonight, some clouds, some spot thunderstorms, 71. Wednesday, the northwest flow takes hold. Sunny skies, lower humidity, better temperatures, 89. Do that again on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's 7:06. We've got 81 degrees. And again, as Dave just told you, extreme heat warning is still in effect for today until 7 o'clock tonight. But the good news is there's relief on the way. Tomorrow, much cooler and a really nice weekend. Cool weather and rain ahead in the forecast. Don't forget, you can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you anywhere, anytime. All you have to do is go out there and download our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Boy, that Dave Murray is just a bundle of good news, isn't he? Another hot day, high heat index. One more day, baby, and then it's going to be about 8 or 9 or 10 degrees cooler
Actually,
tomorrow.
that was good news. I was glad to hear there's an end in sight because it has been miserable 4 or 5 days in a row. Just humid as all get out. Somebody was telling me the dew point's what you really should be focused on, though. It's like the dew point is not necessarily reflective of the humidity. Like you can have high humidity, but if the dew point is low, it doesn't feel so bad.
Okay.
But when you have that suffocating heat, it's when they're both high. When the dew point's high and humidity's
like
high.
It matters to you who goes out and plays baseball and pickleball in it if it's not raining,
Thank
right?
God the rains came last night and washed out. Right, we were warming up, and it was going to be the most miserable 2 hours of my life.
I'm sure.
And the rains came, washed us out. I'm like, okay, great. All right, rained out. Yep. Next week it's going to be in the 70s.
Just perfect, but we're going to get a lot of rain probably Friday and maybe Saturday, even with the better temperatures. So there you have it. We're glad you're with us this hour. We got lots of stuff to get to. Todd Piro, host of Fox and Friends First, joins us in the next segment. We got Marc Walters at the bottom of the hour down there. I want to talk more with Marc about this trend. I talked about it a little bit this morning in the 5 o'clock hour, but did you see this shooting that happened in Seattle at the food festival? It's what happened there was as predictable as what happened in the wake of the attack at the Pride Festival in Munich, right? Yeah. Immediately they said it must be
Munich? Was it Berlin or Munich?
Might have been Berlin.
Yeah,
You're right.
It was Germany.
It was in Germany, though. It's the way the media covers these things because there's a certain truth they want it to have, and the story very rarely fits their narrative. In the case of the Seattle shooting, they wanted it to be a mass shooting event, which it wasn't, but they still treated it like one because it must be the gun, not the two gang member thugs who were shooting at each other when bystanders got hit. Nobody was targeted except the two thugs, but they want to portray it as part of the gun violence epidemic in the United States, which it's not. Those don't fit in that category at all. And the situation in Berlin, where you could go to Reuters yesterday and read that story about what happened, and they would tell you that the motive was unclear. But if you went to the BBC and read the story, shockingly, they had interviews with witnesses who heard the guy talking about Allah Akbar as he was getting out of the van to start stabbing people after he ran over them. It was a radical Islamic terrorist, a radicalized Islamic terrorist. It was a German resident. So rarely it's to the point where they've shot themselves in the foot. You can't read these news stories and not question to yourself whether or not they're intentionally misleading you.
Yeah,
and they do that often.
It's almost as if the guns shot themselves off. The van drove itself into the crowd. I mean, they write it so generically. They never talk about the perpetrator or what motivated the perpetrator, or they take the easy route out and say, well, motive was unclear. Well, that's not unclear. It was very clear. Reuters just didn't want to paint the picture. And you know, I'm sure they're saying, well, we don't want to bring violence on the Muslim community. Well, no, you still report the news. You don't tell people or stop people from understanding the motives behind something because you're worried about something that might happen down the road.
Right. You're worried about their perception or their, instead of just
image.
Telling them the truth.
Yeah.
Which is what your job should be as a journalist. It's sad. It really is sad that that's what it's come to.
It's laughable in America too that those two groups are in the same camp right now, right? That the Muslims, are bedding down with the LGBTQ because they just assume run you over with a van or throw you from a building, but yet you're all together on this whole socialism thing. It's ridiculous.
You don't want to suggest those two are in bed together. Somebody may try to come after you.
Yeah.
You got to be careful there. You got to watch it.
There you go.
I know.
Yeah.
Sad. We'll get to that stuff for you later. Plus, we'll talk about a little more election stuff, which is coming up a week from today, believe it or not. Somebody on the text line this morning, 314-241-9797. Could you tell me how Marc's leaning on Amendment 2, as I tend to lean his way with common sense? Well, you can download the voter guide. I would tell you that. Just go to 971talk.com, and you can see it there. I am a yes on 2 because it would require all county tax assessors be elected. Right now, that only affects one county in the whole state of Missouri. But just in case any of them others decide it would be a good idea to have an appointed assessor, this would prevent that from happening. That way, they have to answer to the voters, and they can't just be appointed by some tyrant like Sam Page, and then suddenly decide that he needs more money for the budget, so assessments need to go up next year. It avoids that problem. So I'm a yes on Amendment 2, just for the record.
That's a no-brainer.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right, coming up, we'll get to Todd Piro. Right now, I want to get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
Here's how it will work. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices.
Yeah, that's the Kami Mamdani explaining to you who aren't familiar with exactly how to run a business into the ground.
He does, I want to say Bernie's critique is fair, that Rahm needs to understand, and many Democrats need to understand, that economic progressive populism is the way of the future. The American people want this.
You didn't know that New York already had a communist mayor. His name was Bill de Blasio. He's back now, commenting on the new left-wing mayor, and he loves him. He thinks this is the way of the future. You people have just got to get on board. Whoops. You know what? You're not hearing any sound there. That would be because Channel 4 auto plays these days, and I had to turn my computer down. Here we go.
So the Democrats have become a party of freaks, weirdos, losers, and crazies. But you can't laugh it off because it's deadly serious.
It is deadly serious. Stephen Miller there commenting on that yesterday. Speaking of nuts like de Blasio and Mamdani, they're at least mainstream in some communities and apparently a much bigger part of the Democratic Party these days.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, American hero.
The man who's become known as America's doctor.
Who better to give us answers that we can trust than Dr. Anthony Fauci?
The great news is you're sticking around in the Biden administration. We are so grateful to you, Dr. Fauci.
There it is, the montage of the media. That was a brief montage of the media fawning over Anthony Fauci.
The superhero Anthony Fauci. They've called him everything from the god of medicine to superhero in a white coat.
And now Rand Paul is reporting on Fauci's diary and what was in it, which made very clear that he was saying one thing to you and me from the dais at the White House about COVID. That it came from a wet market and blah, 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 blah. And privately, he was writing that they knew it didn't come from a wet market. What he was trying to do was avoid having to take responsibility for the gain-of-function research that there's a very good chance your tax dollars funded because of Anthony Fauci, in my opinion. Here's what Rand Paul said yesterday, because tomorrow Fauci's going back before Congress to be questioned on a lot of this stuff. And he's already been pardoned. So nobody's quite sure what to expect. Go to cut 10, please.
What did you take away from the Fauci diaries, and what do you expect for Wednesday?
You know, one of the biggest items that we found in there was that in January of 2020, he already was acknowledging that the virus didn't originate in the marketplace. For years, he's been telling it. If you interviewed him last week, he's probably still telling you the reason we think it came from nature is because they had these exotic animals, and that's where SARS came from previously. But he knew. He already knew. And we've known this for a while, that other people knew, but we didn't know he actually knew and was acknowledging that it didn't. The earliest people who got COVID were not associated with the marketplace. The Chinese CDC was saying this in January of 2020. He knew it. He told Dear Diary, but to the public, he commissioned this paper called Proximal Origins, and in it, they go on saying it's implausible that it came from the lab, and we're really convinced it came from these wild animals in the marketplace. But that level of dishonesty is really astounding.
Really is.
Yeah, there's a lot in the diaries you're going to find astounding. I mean, his love affair with himself and the media, and how famous he was, and he just couldn't, he just feels so blessed to be known. He's the most popular man in the world is one of the things he wrote in the thing. My popularity has grown to a level that I'm perhaps the most recognized person in the world. is in there.
Ego, man.
Yeah, he was going to dinner at Jake Tapper's house and talked about the friendship that he and Jake had. Jake was one of the biggest, fawners over him during the whole, for 3-4 years.
Maybe he'll write a book about that. Now he just didn't realize, Jake Tapper, that Anthony Fauci was lying to him all that time.
Yeah.
He did with Biden.
Well,
it's possible.
Was there a certain point where you realized he was a joke? Was there some point during
Tapper
COVID?
or
No,
Fauci? Yeah, of course.
And for me, it was when he said that people who had the virus had to get the shot, that our natural immunity was not good enough anymore.
Yes.
After telling us for 7 months that it was all about the curve,
masks, wear a mask.
Well,
don't wear
we
a
had
mask.
to have 70% saturation of people who had it before we would be safe. And then that changed. Oh, no, even if you had it, you still got to get the shot. I'm like, nope, you jumped the shark on me.
Just
Sorry.
crazy.
Yeah.
All right, got to get to a quick break here. Todd Piro, host of Fox and Friends First, coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Still looking good on the roads this morning. Now we've got a little bit of moderate volume. 55 northbound ramping on to 270 northbound. And we've got northbound 270 with some moderate volume. Doherty Ferry up through Manchester, but that's about it. 6440 looks great. 70 eastbound really isn't bad. There was some volume around 170 because of an accident being, they're just calling it just east of 170. Eastbound 70, that accident causing a delay back to 170. On the Illinois side, some moderate volume westbound 64 at 5564, and a little bit of volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report is brought to you by i3 Broadband. Summer celebrations are here, and i3 Broadband keeps you connected. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 1-866-806-5485 to upgrade today, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right. You know what? You're going to get a little weather in here, at least on Friday and Saturday. Is your yard ready? Do you have have you taken a look at your trees to see where the threat might be if a high wind, if the storm rolls through? Probably not. Most of us don't. But, they do that for you at Hanson's Tree Service. So you go to Hanson's, you go to hansonstree.com, and you ask them to schedule an appointment with one of their arborists. They can come over. They can take a look at your yard. They will get that all set up for you and ready to go, because they can spot problems. And there's a big problem with evergreens right now. So if you've got those in your yard, that may be a reason to have Hanson's come over. Maybe there's a tree limb that could go in the next windstorm. Get that removed, get it straightened up. If you need mulch, they'll deliver it directly to your house. They make their own mulch at Hanson's. It's pretty amazing. They go back, and they're the original environmentalists here. They're taking those trees that they're chopping down, and they're making them into mulch, and you can pick out the consistency, the color, all that, and they'll deliver it to your house. I've got Hanson's mulch in my yard. 636-379-1830. Online anytime at hansonstree.com.
Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old-timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your politician's Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, allowing politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people, and the politician's Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside Forward 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, allowing a minority of the most liberal statewide voters in one district to effectively end our power to stop corruption and out-of-control spending and taxing.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the politicians' Amendments 4 and 5, paid for by Missourians for Fair Governance.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area, with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests. with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Somewhere close to home, your new best friend is waiting. At the Humane Society of Missouri, we give animals in need the second chance they deserve, so you can find the one who's been waiting for you. Visit hsmo.org/adopt.
The time now is 7:22, and this time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. I'm supposed to say something funny here, but instead I'd rather get to Mr. Todd Piro.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
How do you feel about how things are shaping up in the Senate?
Oh, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about Troy Jackson. You'll get to talk to him in just a minute. You'll see why I'm feeling good. He's the right guy for Maine.
I am the smartest man alive! I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to life than being really, really good looking.
He's all right, I suppose, if you like dark, handsome, rich-looking men with passionate natures and too many teeth.
Well, he's young and he's handsome. He's a real gentleman. You know, not one of these grabbers.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Todd Piro, ladies and gentlemen, fresh off the set of Fox News. How are you, buddy?
I am good, and I hope you are as well. Can we go into the enthusiasm with which you read the mulch commercial?
Sure,
mulch
yeah, absolutely,
commercial?
Man. You need mulch?
Look,
I might be able to get it delivered to Connecticut.
Here's the deal. We need to take down trees in advance of storms. I understand. You read that normal, like, hey, we got a storm coming, trees, if you want some help, we got a guy. But the next level that you went to when talking about them making their own mulch.
They do. It's awesome.
Have you watched the process happen?
I have, actually.
And what about it is so exciting for you?
They put a log into a machine that comes out shredded on the other side. It's fascinating.
Okay, do they then mix it in with the poop?
Oh, yeah. No. It's not compost.
It's not
mulch.
compost. It's mulch. It's the prettier stuff that
Wait.
doesn't stink as bad.
Well, my mulch stinks, so I think they're working in some cow crap in mine. I mean, I'm serious. I'm not making a
Some
joke.
of it does have a little bit of an odor at first.
Ooh.
Yeah, it starts.
When they do the mulch at the old Piro residence, you walk up and it's like giddy up. You know, let me tell you.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's odiferous. That's for sure. There's no doubt.
Speaking of odiferous, Elizabeth Warren, who you played
yes.
there.
Nice.
I really don't have a comment. That was just a acknowledgement.
Nice transition. I had to play that because didn't she just say Graham Plattner was her kind of guy?
Her kind of guy. Now, Troy Jackson, her kind of guy. I love the fact that they didn't learn their lesson from not really vetting people because, you know, in their defense in this situation, they a deadline. But something tells me that the old vetting up there in Portland and Kenny Bunk is not necessarily the same vetting that the national media and specifically the Republican National Committee will do on this guy.
No, of course. Yeah, I think that's going to get ugly. Hey, I saw this morning where you were reporting on this Koberger case. What's new in that?
Here we go. He said he received ineffective assistance of counsel because they didn't tell him how bad jail was, and he didn't realize that he says he was not telling the truth when he admitted to the crime. He's got quite a road to hoe on this one because in the allocution, which is the thing where you plead, the judge did a really good job of making sure that he couldn't do this in the end, which he's trying to do. So I think there's no chance that this happens. But, you know, you never know with our legal system. You never know.
It's those lawyers you got to look out for, really.
You do. We're shady. We're a shady bunch.
Well, and I just think of those poor victim families. You know, you think you get a little bit of closure and you're going to be able to move on knowing he's going to be put away for life, and he comes up with this crap. And it just extends out more of the anguish for them. That's just the sad part about this.
The only silver lining to that part of it is, you know, saw Hannity had on Christy Goncalves, who's Kaylee's mom, and basically, like, they didn't want to plead. They wanted a trial. And so they're like, yeah, this stinks. It reopens the wounds, but if there's a chance that the death penalty's on the table, then maybe. New trial could ostensibly put the death penalty back on the trial, especially with his idiot defending himself.
Boy.
And with so many murders in a single case, you'd think that should have been on the table from the get-go.
It was, but in the plea act, it was taken off, and some of the families said, that's what we want. We just want this process to be done. So, look, I don't see any chance that this changes anything, but it's definitely newsworthy and noteworthy for today.
It's good. Well, at least you'll be able to save money on groceries in New York soon. Mom Donnie's going to cut all the prices.
Wow.
Because I'm always buying groceries in the city. I go to the Food Emporium and I go to town. No, I buy my stuff in Connecticut because that's where I live. But I love the Congress, the representative, local representative is like, you could just buy 1 million people a Costco membership, and that'll really help them get cheap groceries. And that's a great point. Like $70 million for cheap rotted groceries that are going to fly off the It's just so stupid.
Maybe, yeah. No kidding. Todd, we're going to have to run here.
Yeah.
We're out of time, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you next week.
This was fun.
Awesome, brother.
Yeah. Go get some mulch.
Mulch.
Have a good week.
Todd Piro up in New York this morning, giving us a few minutes of time. Coming up, we'll get to my friend Marc Walters from Armed American Radio. Stay tuned.
Well, I'm sure you're aware, I guess you can all imagine, that not only are we busy, but other reputable companies are also just as busy, if not busier, and it's only going to get worse. So if I know this is tough, but if your system has not been keeping up with your house for just not this year, but last year, the year before, and even the year before that, if you want to quit doing it and just get it done, just call me, Bart Inman, and it's one easy number, the easiest of numbers that sometimes I forget. So write it down. 314-293-2600, Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
All right, kid. Can you get your house as clean as possible on your own? My guess is the answer is no. My wife might be able to. I don't know. But I know one thing for sure. If you want to get it extra spick and span clean, you call my friends at Zero Res. Right now they're having a July special, so you're just about out of time for the month of July. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. They'll do all your ductwork as well because they can Zero Resify everything. They'll do that for $599. You get your ducts clean. Those are the lungs of your house, right? So if you have allergies or anything and those allergens are getting recirculated in your house, you want to get that taken care of as you clean your filter every 6 months or so. Let Zero Res come out. They don't leave behind the chemicals or the residue that these other cleaning companies do. Reach out to them, 314-474-2020. Tell them Marc Cox told you to call, and you want our special. Go to ZeroResSTL.com.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, we have really had a nice commute. But there is an accident on eastbound 70 just past 170, and it started in the left lane. They're working to get that off to the shoulder, but it's causing a little bit of a delay. And we're starting to see some volume eastbound on 6440 170 through Big Bend, and northbound 270 anywhere north of Big Bend up through Manchester. But that's about it. Now there's some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge, and moderate volume on westbound 64 at 5570. But that's about it. Still pretty good. This report brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Hey, let's talk for just a minute about your foundation. We all have one. If you own a home, the concrete that sits under your house, that sits on your driveway, that maybe surrounds your patio or your pool, that's all part of your foundation. And if you have a problem with it, if it's cracked, if it has started to sink down into the ground in one area because of erosion, if you have a wet basement, all of those are foundation issues, and you need a foundation specialist. Matt Hayes is who I'm going to recommend. So Matt's great. He's been in the business over 20 years. He owns this small, locally owned company. I know him personally. Our kids went to school together, and you're going to enjoy working with him. He's honest as the day is long, and he's going to take care of you. 314-271-9900. I've had several people tell me we invited Matt over, and we had a couple of other people scheduled to get second opinions, and we just canceled those other appointments because we got along with Matt so well, and we got the problem fixed. If he fixes your wet basement, he will give you a lifetime warranty, and right now he is offering 24 months, same as cash financing, if you qualify. So call him at 271-9900 or go online and tell him Marc Cox sent you. It's HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Today, the Cards, the Cubs. Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
Are your windows drafty, outdated, or hard to open? Choose Infinity from Marvin Windows. Crafted from durable fiberglass for superior energy efficiency, beauty, and performance. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we specialize in custom-fit professional window installations that transform your home. Plus, with our lifetime workmanship warranty, you'll have peace of mind for years to come. Call Lakeside today or visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free window consultation. Replace with confidence. Choose Infinity from Marvin.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. I've had the privilege of seeing miracles, broken families rebuilt, every crash, every workplace injury, every medical mistake. Fighting back can work. We've gone toe-to-toe with insurance giants, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion recovered. Size matters. Reputation matters. Results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Happy birthday, America, in 2026. Get used to hearing the word semi-quincentennial. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
We do not want this deed to be instrumentalized for political ends. We don't want any groups to be placed under suspicion for this. People are trying to divide our society and set some people against others. As the CSD in Berlin, we will not allow this.
If you ban them in the future, the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available.
So you don't shoot deer with a bullet that size. If you do, you could cook it at the same time.
Put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Mark Walters back with us, of course, host of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense and rock and roll honoree as well. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing wonderful. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Dan, sitting in for Kim, and good morning, St. Louis.
I love it.
morning.
I love it. I don't know if you'd heard that soundbite I played off the top there, but I've seen a trend here the last couple of days. Number one, we've got this situation in Germany where somebody drove a van into a pride parade, and the American media didn't want to call it what it was, which was a radical Islamic terror attack, like they tried to go out of the way to avoid it. And those people were spokespeople. That was a spokesman for the German Pride group who was afraid that once people realized who did it, then they would focus their hatred toward radical Islam, and they didn't want that either. I'm like, you got to make your mind up here. So then I see this shooting in Seattle, and I look at the news media. The news media is like a mass shooting in Seattle, and I'm like, wait a minute. The reporting I heard is that it was two thugs, rival gang members shooting at each other, and a couple of stray bullets hit people near them, but it wasn't a mass shooting. It wasn't a targeted event. And I said to Dan this morning, once again, the mainstream media shoots itself in the foot because they won't tell people the truth.
Why would they? It destroys their narrative. I mean, it's really simple. When you talk about the Islamic issue, where is most of mainstream American media based? Somehow, New York. They've got a radical Islamic mayor, for crying out loud.
That's true.
And number two, and aren't we all glad we don't live in Germany for lots of different reasons?
Yep.
And number three, when you look at this description or definition of mass shooting, what they've done here is just shown you exactly what the Gun Violence Archives has done for years. In changing the definition of mass shooting, saying, well, there's 486 mass shootings in whatever year they decide to pick, when the FBI numbers, using the actual definition of a mass shooting, says 30 or 28 or 24 or whatever the number is, but it's always far less than the Gun Violence Archives, because if the Gun Violence Archives didn't exist to do that, their narrative would be destroyed. And that would make the AR-15 not look so scary and evil, and then they wouldn't be able to demonize the Supreme Court decision getting ready to come down in less than 12 months now. All of it wrecks their narrative. So why bother telling the truth?
Yeah, and they never want to talk about the societal issues that are behind some of these shootings and the motives behind people. It's always the gun's fault. Some of the things you hear about, like mass shooting, it sounds like these guns went off by themselves. It had nothing to do with gang violence, right?
Dan, it's always Democrat constituents in Democrat-run blue cities, to be honest. And look, what we're talking about here is gang violence. We all know what a mass shooting is. A real mass shooting is when somebody walks into a workplace and commits an act of terror in the workplace because he's angry or something at work or got fired, or someone walks into a school. We know what the definition is. So but there's a lot of, what did Rush Limbaugh used to call them, Mark? Young skulls full of mush. All they're being spoon-fed this nonsense from the media. That's where they get their information from, and they just regurgitate this stuff. And they don't base any argument on facts, because if they tried, they would easily be destroyed in an argument, and poof, there goes their narrative. But that's, again, why it's so dangerous and why we have to have conversations like this to talk about it honestly and openly so that people do, in fact, get the truth. And I've gotten into Twitter spats. I try not to, but I do from time to time. I get sucked in and take the bait and always wind up checkmating someone by presenting them actual numbers and facts, and they just seem to go away because it's really hard to argue facts. Facts are stubborn things, and they don't suffer fools.
It's a great point. Yeah. I saw somebody checkmate on Twitter yesterday. I'm trying to remember who the person was. I didn't recognize them, but somebody had shared their post where they'd gotten into it, I think, with Piers Morgan. And Piers Morgan says, nowhere in the Second Amendment does it say you can have an AR-15. And the person argued, well, it just talks about muskets. And the person said, well, you're supposed to have the same kind of weapon that your oppressors are using against you. And he said, I didn't see that wording anywhere in the Second Amendment. And she said it was right next to the word musket, which I thought was a perfect point, because the word musket is not. That's
absolutely outstanding. I'm going to steal that and use it.
It's true. I love that. I love that point.
That's
right?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. But that person also can be easily checkmated when you can say, well, I don't recall seeing anything in the First Amendment and the Founding Fathers talking about your iPhone or your computer.
Yeah. They did. If it didn't exist, you can't talk about it. So Todd, you're always. I mean, Todd, I'm a section behind. Mark, when you come on here, you always talk about states that are doing something extreme. What's the cases right now around the country that you have your eye on? What gun laws should we be aware of?
Well, right now there's two really fun cases that we're going to be following here. First of all, you had the Third Amendment. That's why you're with Todd, and then I'm with the Third Amendment.
There you go.
Second, the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, of course, just struck down New Jersey's gun ban as unconstitutional in a scathing 10-5 en banc panel decision. And en banc, for those of you, that means the entire Third Circuit panel. There were 15 judges, and all 15 judges heard the case. It was a 10-5 ruling that the New Jersey gun ban is, in fact, our AR-15 ban, quote-unquote, assault firearm ban, whatever they like to call it nowadays, is unconstitutional. And then just a few days later, you had, interestingly, the First Circuit uphold Massachusetts' gun ban as constitutional. And it's interesting because you had the Seventh Circuit uphold Illinois as constitutional, then the Third Circuit wipe it all out in New Jersey, and then the First Circuit, presenting to the Supreme Court that clear circuit split. But it's really kind of a moot point because the Supreme Court has already agreed to take the Illinois case and the Connecticut case. And we expect, and I'll quote my friend Jared Yanis at Guns and Gadgets, we expect the Supreme Court to kick them all in the teeth, meaning the liberal courts that have ruled these gun bans are, in fact, constitutional in defiance of Bruin, when the decision is handed down in June of 2027. And I want to remind people that live behind the blue wall, those of you that are listening in Illinois across the river, the cavalry is coming. You will have your rights restored to you. That is coming. The problem now is, what are they going to do? Because they know that's coming. The left knows that's coming. What's their plan after that happens? And we're beginning to see that emerge now in stories done by the fake news outlet that masquerades as journalism, by Bloomberg, The Trace, where they're now beginning to telegraph the fact that we need to begin looking at putting those guns behind some type of firewall, meaning a permit scheme, after the Supreme Court rules, in fact. So that's going to be the next battleground. And then we have an interesting case in Maryland where Maryland's reciprocity is now being challenged. Their failure to allow any permitting or any non-resident to carry a gun, that's now being challenged. There's now DOJ going after, for example, the Virgin Islands. What do we care about the Virgin Islands? Well, Virgin Islands is U.S. territory, and those people are U.S. citizens. So the DOJ is now smacking them down, telling them to wipe out their gun bans in light of the Third Circuit ruling. Why? Because the Virgin Islands is in the U.S. Third Circuit. Right. So all of this is fascinating all the way around. We are in historic times for our Second Amendment. And it's a fantastic time to be alive as a gun owner. It's been amazing to watch.
No kidding. Marc Walters, our guest from Armed American Radio. Speaking of which, and because for those of you who don't listen to this segment often, Marc's also serves as a spokesman for the Second Amendment Foundation. Dan, did you know that in the state of Maryland, they banned an entire gun maker, Glock, cannot sell guns in the state of Maryland?
Oh, I thought it was just the clip.
No, the gun, the Glock, period. No. So now you guys, the SAF has stepped in on that. Am I right, Marc?
Yeah, and the SAF has been fighting this. Now, this is where this gets really, really fun. To answer your question in a nutshell, yes. And you now have Illinois considering the same thing. You have Democrat-run states considering this thing, where they're really, and I use the term like you did, shooting themselves in the foot, pun actually intended. Mm-hmm. California has a Glock ban as well. What they've done is they've made they've articulated an error here by calling a Glock an assault firearm. Okay, well, it's a pistol. So every cop in America and around the world is carrying an assault rifle pistol in their holster. But that's going to come back to bite them when, quote unquote, assault pistols and assault firearms, which they've defined it at, are ruled, in fact, constitutional. Now, yes. I always like to cop a little bit of an attitude here because I question why Glock continues to sell guns to these states behind the blue wall who will not allow it for their civilians. And I would love to see Glock say, you know what? No guns for you, no guns, no suit for you. We're not going to support law enforcement. We're not going to provide the same guns that you deny civilians to own at the exact same time. And I would love to see, now, obviously there's business decisions involved there, et cetera. And I understand there's, you're talking millions of dollars.
That's a big
but wouldn't
market.
It be nice? Yeah. Like CMMG just said, no guns to civilians, no guns to you. And that includes law enforcement as well. We're not going to service you. We're not going to support you. If you don't sell hollow point bullets to your civilians in New Jersey, which are illegal, a lot of people don't know that. It's a felony in New Jersey to have a hollow point round, which is what everybody carries in their guns.
Right.
That we're not going to sell our hollow point bullets to law enforcement if civilians are denied that right as well. But again, we're at this point where what history is being made so fast, just in the last 2 months over the Second Amendment, and just watch what unfolds down the road. It's really a fascinating time. And it will be Illinois residents and blue state residents. It will be a glorious day when we celebrate, hopefully June 27th of 2027, alongside you.
I got my Gibson SG out and dusted it off the other day, and I was playing a little bit, and I sent Mark a picture of it, and sent me back a picture of his, the same guitar, but this guy can play, unlike me.
Well, and I'm just glad, Mark, I'm glad you're in the fight, brother. We need people like you out there keeping us informed and taking up the good fights, man. Appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate the comments, and I got to tell you guys, it really is a fun time to be an American gun owner, and you got to throw a hat in the ring here for Donald Trump, who has, in fact, flipped the Third Circuit. And I don't know if you saw this, guys, but you had Judge Van Dyke on the Ninth Circuit who is publicly asked for the Supreme Court to bench slap his own circuit into the Second Amendment reality of where we are today. And he literally asked the Supreme Court to bench slap his own Ninth Circuit for the ridiculous rulings that they keep pulling out of their hip pocket out there. So it's a good time to be alive.
Yep, Mark, we'll talk to you next week, man. Thanks.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
All right. Yep, Mark Walters, Armed American Radio at AAR Mark, and he spells it with a K, which is odd, but AAR Mark there if you want to follow him on X. All right, quick break. We're going to get to the buck stops here coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
It's been pretty quiet on the roads this morning, but we did have that accident eastbound 70 east of 170, and that has caused a delay on southbound 170, and eastbound 70 itself slows just west of 170. Now, eastbound 64, not bad. Moderate volume around Clarkson through Timberlake Manor and again approaching 170. Westbound is slowing near Hampton out through McCausland. We've got northbound 270 with moderate volume Gravois through Manchester and some slow-moving traffic westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right. Window World is a fantastic company, and I've used them myself, and I recommend them to you if you need some new windows around your house, maybe a new front door, a new rear entry door in your house, a sliding glass door. They can get you taken care of. And I think really what sets them apart is that some of these places that sell windows will send somebody in who's just going to badger you and just keep hammering on you until they try to get you to buy something. And that has never been the approach that John has had his employees take over at Window World. Window World, stlouis.com is their website. Go check out their great selections. They've got a place on there where you can envision what your house might look like with a new front door or new windows. And it really, I'm kind of one of those people that need to visualize it, and they have a visualizer on there. I think that's great. But go check it out. Whatever you're looking for, they'll come over and give you a free estimate all the time. You know, they're the preferred window of our St. Louis Blues and ranked #1 in the country by Qualified Remodeler Magazine. There's a reason for that. They've been in business over 20 years, and they have helped over 80,000 customers in the greater St. Louis area improve their homes and their thermal efficiency. 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. 1-800-GET-WINDOWS or windowworldstlouis.com.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Marc Cox, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Registered lobbyist Mike Deering is not the kind of guy you want in the state Senate.
Did you say he was a registered lobbyist?
Sure did. When conservatives like Tricia Burns tried to pass a bill to take back the 300,000 acres in Missouri allowed to be controlled by China, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against it. When conservatives like Tricia Burns fought alongside Missouri cattlemen to require foreign beef to be labeled, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against that too. While conservatives like Tricia Burns are fighting to protect your farmland from being paved over by data centers, lobbyist Mike Deering described Google's Montgomery County hyperscale data center as a
very positive thing.
Deering also endorsed liberal Democrat Chris Koster for governor and openly mocked President Trump. Registered lobbyist Mike Deering, anti-Trump, pro-Democrat Democrat, bought out by foreign ag interest, and in love with data centers. Take down data center Deering on August 4th. Vote America First conservative warrior Tricia Burns for state senate.
Paid for by Mo Constitutional Conservative Council PAC, Scott Lady Treasurer.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
A common question I receive is, how is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441-ALL-4s. And remember, why pay more than two?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. The buck stops here.
As we do always on this segment, we started off with a fun little original song. Today's comes from X, a freelance songwriter named Stephen Baird. The song is called Eyes Wide Open. It's a song about Stephen's journey of believing everything he saw in mainstream media and everything he was being told. He just accepted it until he opened his eyes to the lies and to the deceit and did a little research himself. Here's a little clip of his song from Stephen Baird. Hit it, Ethan.
They can shout, they can twist, they can spin, try to hold you back, it's such a sin. But once you look, you can't unsee. That kind of truth sets your soul free. Corrupt politicians push the party line, pushing agendas every single time. There's power in a question asked. That's how the truth starts breaking glass. Yeah, the fear they use starts losing hold when you think for yourself and you're taking control. Now I'm standing here with my eyes wide open. Ain't no chain on my mind no more. I don't follow every word they're throwing. I don't buy what they're selling, it's broken.
Oh, the song called Eyes Wide Open. If you want more of that, Stephen Baird has it for you on X. Just look it up. And you just put song Eyes Wide Open and you'll find it. Speaking of Eyes Wide Open, the dam is leaking everywhere as DHS continues to discover more and more states who are guilty of registering tens of thousands of illegals to vote through their DMV license offices.
But it was a glitch.
Oh, yeah, just a glitch. Oh, yeah. Well, Chad Meisel went on News Nation yesterday. If you don't know Chad, he's the general counsel at the Department of Homeland Security. He laid out all the ballot and voter integrity issues, and in many cases, it's blatant fraud being perpetrated against the USA in our election process. This isn't just New Jersey either. Meisel said that it's multiple states, and it's an ever-growing list. Listen to this.
DHS sent a letter to a number of states, including California, New Jersey, Nevada, Pennsylvania, laying out the number of illegal aliens or migrants that they think are on their voter rolls. Just as one example, in California alone, they said 81,000 voters matched the name, date of birth, address, and social security number of a alien in DHS's system.
81,000.
I mean, so we're talking about a huge number of people. And just to put this in context, let's talk about New Jersey. They said 6,600 individuals were improperly registered to vote. Well, just in recent elections, there were 4 districts where a Democrat defeated a Republican incumbent by less than 900 votes, including a single district decided by about 600 votes where Republicans have held for the last 45 years.
Yeah. Now, here's my burning question. Where are the convictions for all these illegal voters? You know that's a federal election felony in the United States. If you vote and you're not legal to vote, it's supposed to be a $100,000 fine, up to a year in jail, and it's immediate deportation.
Why isn't it being prosecuted?
Well, because old Mikey Sherrill, the most transparent governor in America, isn't giving up the names of the 400 she said voted. If we had their names, we could go after those people. How can she withhold evidence from a federal jurisdiction? I don't understand how she's getting away with it.
It's a great question. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about UFOs and God. We'll be right back.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Trisha Burns never answers the call. Trisha Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Trisha Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Trisha Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the Suicide Prevention Hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Trisha Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Trisha Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job.
Let's Go Branded PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Chris Foss, Treasurer.
How would you like a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter of St. Louis, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer? Give yourself peace of mind now by calling for a free estimate. 314-499-2020 or GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com.
If you've been thinking about refinancing, don't let the cost of an appraisal hold you back. This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. For a limited time, Golden Oak is offering a credit of up to $600 towards your appraisal at closing. Call today for a free mortgage checkup and see if you could lower your payment, pay off high-interest credit card debt, or put your home's equity to work. But apply by July 31st.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Have you heard those ads claiming Amendment 4 stops conservative amendments?
That's not true. It actually stops a couple big cities from pushing radical ideas into our Constitution. Remember 2024? Only 8 out of 114 counties voted to allow transgender surgeries on children.
That's terrifying. We can't let just a handful of counties rule the whole state.
Exactly. Amendment 4 requires broad statewide support and keeps foreign money out of our elections. Vote yes on 4 this August 4th.
You convinced me. I'm voting yes too.
Paid for by Freedom Principle MO, Missouri First PAC, Kate Sickles, Treasurer.
The 2027 models are arriving, and that means huge savings during the 2026 closeout sale at Apache Village RV. Right now, every remaining 2026 RV is priced to sell, including popular models from Jayco, Forest River, and Keystone. Whether you're looking for a travel trailer, fifth wheel, or motorhome, now is your chance to score a great deal before these models are gone. Don't miss your opportunity to save thousands and get road trip ready for your next adventure. The 2026 inventory won't last long. Shop the closeout sale today at both locations in Hazelwood and AVRV in O'Fallon or ApacheVillageRV.com.
Call Point Pest Control, mention Annie, and get 10% off your pest problem. Once summertime hits, ant populations begin to reach peak numbers, maybe even into the millions. Call Point Pest Control before they invade your home. Call Point Pest Control 636-798-0023.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Graham. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
He was a great guy. He was a great politician, actually. People don't understand he really was. He was able to bring people together.
President Trump, a short time ago on Fox and Friends, as a flag-draped casket carrying the late senator goes to the U.S. Capitol this morning.
Note that he is not lying in state or honor, but they're doing a special ceremony in the rotunda for Lindsey Graham. They've never done it this way before.
Fox's Chad Pergram at the Capitol.
We expect this ceremony to only go for about 30 minutes. They will then take the casket out, put it back in the hearse, and then go out to the National Cathedral.
That is where there's a funeral President Trump will speak at this afternoon. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will also attend. And this morning, both leaders will meet with President Trump at the White House. First, Zelensky talking about the Russia war, then Netanyahu discussing the Iran conflict. The president also tells Fox he's still hoping for a deal with Iran, but if talks fail, the U.S. attacks will be worse.
I would say in 2 hours, most of the bridges, the major bridges, will all be gone. And the power plants in 1 day. And, you know, if I can avoid doing that, I'd like to do that.
And the president insists he won't let Iran get a nuclear weapon and tells Fox the Strait of Hormuz will be open for shipping.
We control the strait. Now, they can drop a couple of mines in there and screw things up, but we control the strait. Our Navy is incredible. Not one ship has gotten to Iran during any time where we had the blockades.
And oil prices, they're down about 2% again this morning. It is day 3 of the search for suspect number 3 in Sunday night's Seattle shooting that sent panicked people running and hiding at a food festival. 3 shot dead, 4 wounded.
We will leave no stone unturned to bring all of those who may be involved to justice.
That's Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes. One of the gunmen is among the dead. Another accused shooter, a 15-year-old, is in custody. America's listening to Fox News.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
For 97.1 FM Talk, I'm Dan Buck. It is 8:03, and we've got a balmy 83 degrees, high today of 93 with that heat advisory in effect. A mother and her 7 children wisely escaped flames through the rear of their home early Monday morning. The Walnut Park East home was fully engulfed when fire crews arrived shortly after 3 a.m. Fire investigators believe a generator on the front porch led to the fire. They said the mother made a wise choice going out the rear, or it could have been fatal. St. Louis police arrested a driver after an undercover operation led to a reckless high-speed chase of a silver Corvette. Police used tire spikes to stop the vehicle. The occupants were arrested, and street takeover promotional items were found in the car. The seizure is part of a city police effort to stop takeovers and other dangerous activities that are plaguing the city. A 24-hour search by 5 different search and rescue teams ended Monday night with the discovery of the missing young man's body in the Missouri River near Defiance. The drowning occurred Sunday evening. The name of the victim has not yet been released. A Principia high school employee was charged this week with having sex with a student. Tessa Miller, 32 years old, was charged with 3 counts of sexual contact with a teenage student. Miller worked for the school's boarding program. In sports, the Cardinals got out-hit 14-7. They lost to the Cubs 7-3 in Game 1 of their 4-game set. Game 2 will be tonight at Busch Stadium. That's your headlines. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews have been working with an accident on eastbound 70 east of 170. And the left lane blocked. They're trying to get that off to the right shoulder. But there's a slow go through there. Now, eastbound 64, some moderate volume, Clarkson through Timberlake Manor. Most of it is at the inner belt through Big Bend. Moderate volume westbound, and that's approaching Clayton Skinker through Hanley. A little bit, too, at McKnight. Northbound 270, moderate volume, anywhere from Gravois up through Manchester. 55 looks good. And if you're headed in from Illinois, there's volume westbound 64 at 5570. And then again, crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's still a hot and humid day on this Tuesday, but a cool front is coming through. Partly sunny skies, a couple of spot storms. Again, still humid, still warm, 93 degrees, so a little bit better than the last 2 days. Tonight, some clouds, some spot thunderstorms, 71. Wednesday, the northwest flow takes hold. Sunny skies, lower humidity, better temperatures, 89. Do that again on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Sneaking up on 807, we now are at 83 degrees. A reminder, we still have that heat advisory for one more day before we get a break tomorrow and heading through the weekend with nice cool temperatures. So hang in there and stay cool today. Don't forget, too, to take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you anywhere, anytime. All you need to do is go out on the App Store and download that free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Good morning to you. Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Happy you're with us here this morning. Dan Buck sitting in with me today in place of the vacationing Kim St. Ange. Ethan's in here. Sue Thomas has got your traffic for you in just a couple of minutes. And we've had a great interview this morning, a couple of them now, but John Lamping came on earlier, former Missouri Senator. We talked a lot about Amendments 4 and 5 and some of the challenges that he sees there with those. So if you missed that, go back and pick it up on the podcast. We'll have that issued here soon. I'm sure Drew's in there working on it right now. And you can, wherever you get your podcast, you can always, anything you miss on the show, you can pick it up that way. We are live for you every morning on the Odyssey app if you want to listen to us there. If you're traveling, I think we're on the iHeart app now as well. You can get us on the socials here on Facebook and YouTube and Rumble and X. We try to make it as easy for you as possible. And if you're watching us this morning, Dan and I are back on TV here, courtesy of the Window World webcam. Simply the best for less. How you feeling?
I'm good, man.
Good.
That last hour, this day has flown by. Good show.
It has, and it's great here because Dan's not used to working these hours, so I got to make sure he's awake and on his toes. I made him a big pot of coffee.
Let's start with there's no radio show that I've ever been a part of that goes 4 hours ever. That's baby. A long show, but man, you make it happen. So. And again, I only have to do this for 5 days. Kim has to do it all the time.
I know.
So it's easy when I just know it's a 5-day sprint. I can get through that. I don't have to daily grind it at 3 a.m. So I can do it for a week.
Coming up here, I've got an interview you're gonna want to stay tuned for. Derrick Warfel is going to join us. He's the author of a book called UFOs and God.
I'm looking forward to this.
This book takes a look at what he sees as a real dilemma coming for the Christian church if they're not prepared, because he said there have been other challenges to faith that they weren't prepared for and didn't handle well, and he thinks that's as more and more of this stuff gets unveiled, that's the challenge they're going to face. We're going to talk to him up next, and we got Ryan Wiggins, host of Wiggins America. Wiggins will be in here at the bottom of the hour, and he wants to talk about Fauci Gate or Fauci Gate, however you want to look at it. Fauci.
Yeah, faux is a good one, right?
Yeah. Ryan's question is, was the CDC also cooking the books back in 2020? So we'll talk to Ryan about that here at the bottom of the hour. Interesting story in the Post of all places. Talking about St. Louis police response times. Remember, there's all this debate over the budget. The mayor doesn't want to pay the city police because they're now run by the state. State says, hey, state law says you have to give us 25% of the budget. Just give us our money and we're going to do what we can with it. She's mad that they're trying to give raises and all that stuff. Well, apparently they're still so understaffed that response times are still pretty ridiculous. And this story in the Post I thought was interesting because, we talk a lot about being down 300 or 400 officers from what they need to have to be fully staffed. This is the reality of what happens on a Sunday afternoon. This, according to this Post story, Casey Crocker sat down to eat dinner with his wife in the backyard of their Benton Park home, and they heard noises out front. When they went around the front of the house, they saw a stranger clearly in the midst of a crisis. So somebody having a mental health breakdown was smashing their front porch table, chairs, and bench. So they did what most people would do. They called 911. It was 7:55 at night when they called. They said to the dispatcher, the guy's right here. He's tearing up the front of my house. What are you going to do? At 9:25, 2 officers arrived.
2 hours later?
Yeah. To take a report.
2 hours from the initial call.
Now, maybe had he...
I'm guessing the guy was gone.
Maybe.
Too. Yeah.
Well, he was long gone.
Yeah.
And maybe had they described it as like the guy's attacking me, like an assault of some sort, but that would have been a false report. They might have responded because, of course, they tier their responses. They triage their responses because they're so short-staffed. If it's a life-threatening event, they're going to get there sooner. If your car window's been broken into, they're probably not coming at all. And this one falls in between there somewhere. He called back 2 or 3 times. One time a dispatcher hung up on him. Another time he was told police were busy with more serious incidents and they'd be there when they could. And 2 hours later, they showed up to take a report. So, the police say it's a prime example of the problem they're having when the average response time has now doubled to more than 40 minutes.
Man, that's...
What's the lesson there?
Well,
if you're not a priority 1 call, you need to be prepared to defend yourself is the message.
And that's a city response time.
Yes.
So in the place where there is the most crime, with needed responses being shorter because offenses are more violent, you're getting a worse time.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is also a city run by the same party that's saying let's defund police. All right, let's get rid of jails. And yet they can't even, currently keep up with the crime rates. It's remarkable.
You want to hear something that's really going to piss you off?
Go ahead.
So they quote a guy named Chuck Wexler in here, executive director of the Police Executive Research Forum, a Washington-based think tank, who said, it's simple. You need more cops. Megan Green, president of the Board of Aldermen, isn't buying it.
Oh, no.
Even with staff reduction, she said, the city's police department is comparably staffed. What's happening that's causing these slow response times? What are police actually spending their time doing? She's questioning what these hardworking men and women who are busting their rear ends to keep up and working overtime and double shifts and all this stuff, and then seconds on top of that to make enough money to make ends meet. And she's questioning that they have plenty of staff and they must be eating donuts or something.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's outrageous.
She thinks they're parked at some donut shop
Just
somewhere.
outrageous. By the way, Megan Green is a member of the Democrat Socialists of America, so you get what you pay for.
Hey, Megan, why don't you go on a little ride-along for a few weeks and see what these guys do day in and day out, and the people they have to encounter in this city on a frequent basis. They go places nobody else would go to at times of the day nobody else would be out. Yeah, and she has the gall to question their integrity and whether or not they're just overworked. They're getting too many calls because the streets aren't safe and there's too much going on and they can't be 2 places at once. It's unbelievable.
It's insane is what it is. That's the response you get from the person
leadership
who's in charge of the budget
Yeah.
for the city of St. Louis.
Yeah.
Megan Green. Wow. All right, coming up, we are going to get to a break here right on time, Ethan, because I want to give plenty of time for my next guest. He is Derrick Warfel. He is a theologist. He's written a book called UFOs and God, and this book was written to go along with the documentary that examines this issue. And his question is whether or not the church is ready for whatever is unveiled next regarding these UAPs or UFOs or whatever you want to call them. We're going to get to him after the break.
We skipping the short list?
Yeah.
We are today.
Okay.
Yep, that's all right.
From the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads this morning, we have had an issue, and that has been an accident on eastbound 70, just east of 170. And crews have been on the scene trying to get this cleared, and there is a delay behind it on eastbound 70. 64, it's just the usual volume. So that means a little bit slow, Clarkson, Timberlake Manor, and then east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Westbound is mainly slow, Clayton Skinker through Hanley. And northbound 270, some moderate volume anywhere from 44 through the Clayton Road overpass. Now we also have volume headed for and crossing the Poplar Street Bridge westbound. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Who do you have on standby when the heat index hits 110 today and the air conditioner goes kaput? You better have Air Comfort Service on speed dial, and I'm going to give you their phone number right now. That way you've got it in your phone. Think about that. Next time you guys have a air conditioner problem, or in the fall you're having a furnace problem, you know exactly who to call, because 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're going to be there for you. They're there for second opinions if that's what you need, and that is Corey and the folks at Air Comfort Service. 314-513-0091. Yes, Corey will be the one standing in the basement behind your unit, which the lady says is kind of creepy. That's funny. I talked to Corey about that the other day when I went to the ball game with him, and he got such a kick out of that whole commercial series. It's great. But it's true. They do stand behind their work. I've got one of their air conditioners and furnaces in my house. They come out twice a year. I'm part of the preferred partner plan, and they'll do the same thing for you. It's not special to me. They check my system in the spring. They check it in the fall. They make sure everything's working properly. They'll do the same thing for you. 314-513-0091. Put it in your phone under air conditioning or HVAC, and then you're taken care of. Tell them Marc Cox sent you, and you can also go online anytime to aircomfortservice.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC. Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
The time now is 8:20, and this time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. We're all excited to get our next guest on. It's Derrick Warfel, so let's get to it.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
In my official duties, I was exposed to human and signals intelligence information concerning foreign adversary, UAP crash retrieval, exploitation and study efforts, adversary views on U.S. legacy program reverse engineering efforts, and U.S.-held audiovisual information related to crash retrieval matters, such as the recovered vehicles and the associated biological material.
Wow, that was a whistleblower on UAPs, or unidentified aerial phenomenon. So more of this is coming out. The Trump administration has ordered the release of a lot of videos recently, and it's got a lot of people talking about whether or not we've been visited by extraterrestrials, I guess. That's what this guy's alleging, that the U.S. government has retrieved this stuff. If you're a person of faith, how does that affect you? It's a good question. There's a book out called UFOs and God, and I wanted to have the author on to talk more about this. He's talking about the revealing the deception and truth behind the supernatural invisible war. We have Derrick Warfel on the line right now. And Derrick, welcome into the show. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So this book is designed to go along with a documentary. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, started working on the documentary 5 years ago. It was supposed to be a 2-year project, and we're finally coming out September 11th with the film. It'll be online with, Amazon and other places where you can rent and buy. And then about 2 years ago, the other producer said, well, you ought to write a companion book, because I kept talking about other things that weren't in the film. And I said, sure, no problem. I figured it'd be a 60, 70-page book. And 350 pages later, we have this book that's dealing with detail more with what the phenomenon is from a spiritual perspective, which, in fact, the common news narrative today is something entirely different, and that's kind of why we wanted to do this book. I see you list yourself as a recovering journalist. What's that look like? I guess
I was in television news for many years, and I'm glad to be out of that mess. So I can tell you that. So let's talk about the basis for the book here. You say this is not primarily about extraterrestrial life, but a long-standing spiritual deception described in the Bible. What does that mean?
Well, I think, you look at every culture, every religion, all throughout history has believed that we have shared this planet with supernatural beings. And it's only in the 20th century when, kind of science has come in, that basically we exclude that possibility of spirit that goes beyond just the material world. Science itself basically, is primarily a technology for testing hypotheses. But in the last century, people have gone beyond that. It's become a religion, scientism. They even have a name for it. And basically the first premise is that nothing beyond the material world exists, okay? And therefore, you can't accept it being a supernatural entity. It has to be a material, physical entity. And so since it's a material, physical entity, well, the only way to explain that is from another planet or another galaxy, But I think the evidence more than clearly indicates that these are supernatural entities. And I can go into detail here. That's what the book goes into, a lot of detail. So that's my philosophy, and I believe that's what the Bible teaches. And I can give a lot of examples. So just tell me where to start.
Well, and I just like to, as a Christian, I want to kind of challenge you a little bit on that because, we believe in the Holy Spirit. We believe, that God ascended into heaven and that God Almighty is of supernatural powers, right? He created the universe. And I've never, in all of my years of Christianity, including 50 years in the Catholic Church, was I ever taught that extraterrestrials kind of go against the grain of God. I think I always felt like he's all powerful and unlimited. That he didn't create the galaxies to have just us as his sole beings.
Well, I agree. Certainly God is omnipotent. He could have created life on other planets,
absolutely,
and other galaxies if he wanted to. The problem is that's not what this is, and I think the evidence exists that. For example, we interviewed some astrophysicists, and the possibility, just odds possibility of other life, human life like us, carbon-based life on other planets, traveling to Earth. And there's 3 reasons why that just, frankly, is virtually impossible. One is this planet is extremely unique. You hear that, scientists will say, all we need is a planet that's a certain distance from its star and has a little bit of water and you'll have life. And it's much more complicated than that. We talked to Hugh Ross at Reasons to Believe, and he says there's like 14 minimum finely tuned constants that make carbon-based life like us possible on this Earth. For example, the tilt of the Earth. If it was slightly off one way or another, there wouldn't be advanced life. If the mix of gases in our atmosphere of nitrogen and oxygen, if there was more oxygen, there'd be fires breaking out everywhere. If there was less, we couldn't have carbon-based life. The magnetic field of the Earth keeps cosmic radiations at a distance. There's the asteroid belt. There's the moon and Earth's system of tides. If we didn't have that exactly, and just slightly variations in those constants, we wouldn't have advanced life here. So they haven't found one other planet that has any, like more than two of those constants. The second thing is there is too far to travel. Like the closest star to us is Alpha Centauri, which is 4.3 light years away. Well, light year is the distance light travels in a year, which is approximately 6 trillion miles. That's a big distance.
Yeah.
And,
So, Derrick, I'm going to run out of time here, but I do have people asking this on the social media page. Could these be angels or fallen angels or demons?
That's what I believe they are, yes. That God only says in the Bible that there's two forms of advanced intelligent life he created. One is angels, and the other is humans. And the angelic realm, 1/3 of them decided to rebel against God. And they've been rebelling against God and fighting holy angels and fighting us ever since. And their goal, I took the subtitle from a book by Donald Gray Barnhouse called The Invisible War, where basically when they rebelled against God, their goal all along is proving God does not have the right to rule.
Okay.
And so they're doing everything in their power to get us and everybody else to reject God just like they have.
Derrick,
so, yes, it is the fallen angelic realm.
Derrick Warfel is the author of UFOs and God. There's a documentary coming out September 11th. Derrick, thank you. We appreciate you.
Great conversation.
Good deal. Is that all you need?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you,
Have
man.
a great morning. We appreciate that. Good to getting you on here, and interesting conversation. We're going to be back in just a minute.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Trisha Burns never answers the call. Trisha Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Trisha Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Trisha Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Trisha Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Trisha Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job.
Let's Go Brandon PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Chris Foss, Treasurer.
Part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Coke is now projecting comparable earnings per share growth of 9 to 10%. That is up from the prior forecast of 8 to 9%. Its shares are up 19% this year. The chief executive of Philips said that delayed orders in the U.S. and market pressure in China weighed on the healthcare tech group's second quarter results, even as it lifted its margin outlook for the full year. The maker of consumer electronics, appliances, and medical equipment added that its comparable order intake fell 1%. Philips shares fell 4.4% upon the news. Apple's incoming CEO, hardware chief John Ternus, said he is committed to building on the company's momentum in the entertainment business when he takes the helm of the iPhone maker in September. The technology giant began offering original TV series and films through the Apple TV Plus streaming app in 2019. Futures are still mixed as the chip sell-off continues. That's your money now.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, some good news. Crews have cleared the accident eastbound 70 east of 170, and 70 is in good shape now. Eastbound 64, some moderate volume at Timberlake Manor and east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Westbound slowing at Clayton Skinker. Still some moderate volume northbound 270. Right around Doherty Ferry, and some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
Well, we've got the sun. We've got the heat. We will probably get some storms this weekend, maybe some rain, heaven forbid, some hail. If you've got regular old paint on the side of your house, it's going to take a beating. That's what causes it to fade and chip and crack over the years. And then, every 4 or 5 years, you're having to get it repainted. Or at least you should. Your neighbors wish you would. Let's put it that way. Don't do that anymore. Call Rhino Shield. This stuff goes on thick. It protects. It's like a rhino shield on the outside of your house. Now, it's beautiful. It looks like regular paint. Same bright, vivid colors. The difference is it holds. It is beautifully durable, and they give you a 25-year guarantee against chipping, cracking, and peeling. What I'm telling you is you get that same vibrant color for years as well. It rejects 90% of the sun's rays, which means it doesn't fade in the sun. It's gorgeous. It's why they've shown it on HGTV so many different times. If you want to find out more about it, you can do so for free. The evaluations are always free. Call my friend Darren. Tell him you heard Mark talking about it. I'm a satisfied customer. 877-25-RHINO or online at 877-25rhino.com. It's Mark Cox. Celebrate the month of July with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129 and get your air ducts clean for $599 per unit. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
Today, the Cards, the Cubs. St. Ben Cancer Center game time, 6:45. Play ball! St. Ben Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
2026 is a big year for America, and we'll be here with you, celebrating every step of the way. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk, sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
You know, one of the biggest items that we found in there was that in January of 2020, he already was acknowledging that the virus didn't originate in the marketplace.
Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins! That was Rand Paul talking about the Dr. Fauci hearing that's going to take place tomorrow. And Ryan is in studio with us right now, and I know you've been following the story because I don't know where the diary came from or how we got our hands on it, but it's pretty eye-opening, isn't it?
I am amazed that this guy, I'm sorry if you're listening right now and this is you, but what grown man keeps a diary that specific anyway? This guy looks like he was very obsessed with himself, but that's not even the scandal. The scandal is all the lies that he was telling publicly and then writing privately. This is not that big of a deal. The death rate's 0.2, and then going publicly and saying it's 10 times higher than that to the entire world. I mean, this is a huge scandal. I was looking, though, because we were talking about this yesterday, and, man, tomorrow is going to be must-see TV or must-listen radio.
Yes, exactly.
Because that is going to be a bombastic testimony that he's going to give because he's got this weird thing with the pardon, too. I mean, I don't want to get into the legal side of it, but he's been pardoned by the Biden administration, which means he can't plead the Fifth because he can't self-incriminate because you can only self-incriminate if you have a possible criminal, testimony.
But can't states, because that was a federal pardon, couldn't states individually go after him and put up charges because they followed his, just the remdesivir alone should be a lawsuit against him because he gave that and the ventilators that were killing people, and they know now that was the absolute worst thing to give people. Right. And he stuck to the guns on that.
Well, I think that's one way they could do it because there's stuff in those diaries about him really disliking DeSantis and what DeSantis was doing in Florida to basically combat everything that he was doing. So I'm sure there's a lot of state play in there too. But I think I don't want to get too far into the legal just because I'm not necessarily a lawyer. But I keep hearing that if he perjures himself, that's a separate crime. And so any crimes he commits from here would be new, and so there's a lot at stake tomorrow with this testimony based on what he said publicly and privately, and then what his testimony will be. So that's why it's going to be a big deal.
You said you're not necessarily a lawyer.
No, I'm not necessarily.
Intentionally not a lawyer, or are you almost a lawyer? Or
I like to dabble on the radio.
I just wondered, as I get in trouble, show. I don't know if I don't think I'm going to call you because you're not necessarily a lawyer.
You do point out.
You can pay me.
Yeah. There's a lot of false premises that started all of this. Even some of the stats and statistics that the CDC was putting out now are in question, that they may have been cooking the books.
Okay, so that's what's interesting is because when we talk about Fauci Gate or whatever we're going to call this thing now, he's the head of the NIH. Mm-hmm. So that's a separate organization, the CDC.
It's under it, though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know exactly if one's over the other. I know that, the Health
National
and Human Services
Institute of
would
Health.
be.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly how they stack. But I know that the CDC, now separately from Fauci, when you look back at the numbers from 2020, which I actually did a few years ago, I looked back over my own research over this. And the weird thing is, if you want to look at a pandemic and figure out, did we actually experience a plague here, or was this something that was really ginned up? You would want to look at overall deaths, because you can't look at the number of COVID deaths, because we know those books were cooked.
Yeah.
Because they were paying people to report COVID deaths, so everybody's over-reporting COVID deaths.
We had a gunshot victim who died, and he had COVID, and they counted
That's
as a COVID death. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Right.
you can't count COVID deaths. So what you do is you look at the overall number of deaths within a year, and you compare that to other years. Well, 2020 in the United States, according to the CDC, had a 25% increase over the average year of deaths. The problem is when you look at the number of deaths in other countries, because this is a worldwide thing,
right?
The numbers are all pretty normal in every other country except for the USA, according to the CDC. So if you look at the UK, there was an 8% increase over the normal. There's
This
actually
is just in deaths, period,
deaths.
not just COVID
No,
deaths.
yeah.
Yeah, because there
Deaths.
should be a major spike
There
if
should
it's
be
a
a spike.
pandemic.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right.
UK, 8% over normal, which is actually not really outside the bounds of a normal year. Australia actually had a 13% decrease that year in the number of deaths. Sweden had a 6% decrease in the number of deaths. The problem is the USA's numbers were such an outlier until you look at independent statistics, not the government statistics, CDC. The CDC was overestimating us, it looks like, by about 20%. Because when you look at independent death statistics in the U.S., they came out to about a 6% increase, which is a pretty normal year. And that fluctuates every year. It goes up and down, whether you have a bad flu year, good flu year, whatever. So independently, death statistics in the United States in 2020 were up by about 6%. That's really no big deal. But the CDC reported it was a 25% increase in deaths.
What would benefit them to say that?
To make it look worse. To make it look like it was more tragic.
Make it look worse.
They were. I mean, I don't know how you can interpret this data any other way.
Remember when you could somebody could come in and die of some other reason, but if they had COVID, you wrote it down as a COVID death.
Yeah,
so they got extra money for it.
Right.
That's what Dan was just saying. Gunshot wound. Oh,
Maybe,
it's a COVID death.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a reason why, why would they want it to look worse? Well, guess what was being sold at that time when those numbers were being released was still in the midst of everybody get the vax, everybody get the vax. Well, the vax was a multi-billion-dollar business. So the more worse they could make it, the more fear they could instill, got more people to continue to take the shot. So it was a business decision,
they're
if you will.
Make a movie on this someday.
Oh my gosh, greatest crime against humanity ever perpetrated.
It really is. It's hard to take a step back from it because it's so recent and we all lived it, and we're still sort of getting out of the mode of thinking about that as being a scandal. But, the more separation we have from that moment in time, specifically 2020 and 21, those 2 years mainly, there's so much scandal because the stuff we talked about just in this segment, I mean, that's barely any of what's in those diaries.
Oh, yeah.
Based on what Fauci was saying publicly versus what he was saying privately. Because the lab leak theory, I mean, you played the sound from Rand Paul at the beginning here. That's a big thing. If you remember, we in this room were being censored by big tech across many platforms to not be able to say that this was probably a created disease.
Ivermectin. I said that, and YouTube banned me.
Yes.
Yeah.
My original YouTube feed was banned for 4 years. We had to start a separate channel to stream this show because I talked about ivermectin, and somebody at Big Tech didn't want me talking about it.
Heck no. I took it. I was going the wrong way when I had COVID. Day 5, I was heading south and getting worse every day, and I took it on day 5, and by day 6, I was 80% healed. By day 7, I was 100% fine.
Ready to play baseball
2 days.
again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you,
absolutely.
I felt like I could have gone out and run a marathon. It was amazing. I mean,
my wife
everything.
had the same experience.
Yeah, 24
marathon
hours.
runner couldn't climb the stairs. We took her and got her on ivermectin, and the next day she was 80% better.
Yeah,
Like just that fast.
And I had to lie to get the prescription. I had to say I had parasites.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that you were a horse.
And they gave it to me. I was a horse. Give me some of that horse
Dan is
taste.
a horse, of course.
Yeah.
Right?
So anyway, you're right. And when you dive deeper into some of those numbers, too, those death rates you were talking about, you dive into the causalities, the causation of it. You see that the flu that year just somehow vanished. The number one killer in America, there were no flu cases whatsoever in those numbers. They attributed every flu-like death to COVID, and flu itself never existed that year. So really, did COVID just kind of replace the flu deaths? Because there were no flu deaths in 2020 or 2021. The numbers were alarmingly low.
Yeah.
I would say the one good thing that came out of that era now, because we all at the moment were like, oh, hey, take a couple weeks off of work and all that stuff. But I mean, like long term, is that people really genuinely started to question the quote experts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that kind of woke up in that era and said, oh, just because the expert said it, that doesn't mean you can just take it to the bank. Question everything and the motives of everything.
Wherever there is billions of dollars at stake, evil will raise its head. There's no question that there was money being made and certain lies were perpetrated because of it.
Can you hang out with us for a minute, Ryan?
Yeah.
All right. Ryan Wiggins in studio. We'll be right back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Not a bad commute this morning. If you are just headed out, 44 still looks great. There's some moderate volume on the ramp from northbound 55 to northbound 270, and it slows again a little bit headed from Manchester. Most of the volume is eastbound 64 between Lindbergh and Big Bend. Westbound, just a little bit of volume there at Clayton Skinker. And on the Illinois side, some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge and eastbound 5570 due to road work between 203 and 255. And then things open up and look fine. This report brought to you by i3 Broadband. Summer celebrations are here, and i3 Broadband keeps you connected. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade today, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
If you are in the sound of my voice and you are thinking of buying or selling your home, I want you to call my friend Gloria Loop. With your home sold, guaranteed realty, how do you beat that? Right? If you've gone through it before, and I'm in my third house now, you know how stressful it is. You found the house you want. You got to sell yours. You probably need the equity out of your old one to buy your new one to put toward it. And, man, that is high pressure. You every phone call, you're worried something's going to go wrong. And Gloria gives you a guarantee with it. It's just peace of mind, and you will sell your house or Gloria will buy it. She'll put that in writing for you, or she'll promise you that I'll sell it for 100% of market value, or I'll pay you the difference. Go to her website. See how she does what she does. There are testimonials on there. You can call her, ask her about it. But I'm telling you, don't pass up that opportunity if you are thinking of buying or selling your home. Here's her number, 314-325-6888. That gets you over to Gloria. She helped me sell my house. She's great. You're going to love working with her. You can go to her website anytime at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
We're here to celebrate America's 250th birthday in 2026. This is 97.1 FM Talk. America 250 is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
If you have been in a car accident in the past and have settled your case, I may have some good news. Some unethical lawyers have people known as runners who come directly to your hospital room or home and solicit your case. It's a disbarable offense. Anyone that would hire these scumbags needs to have their heads examined. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Now for the good news. If this happened to you, we will sue these lowlifes and fight to get all your fees back. And then look and see if these bottom feeders also malpracticed your case and sue them for that too. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Visit forthepeople.com for a free consultation or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. If someone does this to you, call the Bar Association and report them. Let's fight these bums. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're back with Marc Cox and Kim St. Onge. The Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
The Democrats, this is something that they're salivating over the opportunity to have, is a talking filibuster. So that isn't the best path in my view. And frankly, I don't think we probably have the votes in the Senate among Republicans even to get on a talking filibuster. But I do think we have a possibility through budget reconciliation.
It must really suck to be that dumb.
Yeah, John Thune there, in case you didn't recognize the voice, he's talking about the SAVE Act, and of course the president wants them to not go on their August recess until they get business taken care of. I mean, if you were a business owner, he's the chief executive of the country, you're saying to Congress, no, don't leave for 4 weeks and abandon everything here. You got work to do. Get it done. Thune's like, I can't do it. And then now, remember, he told us, I don't think we can do a talking filibuster. And now he's saying he doesn't want to do a talking filibuster because the Democrats are biting at the bit, chomping at the bit, wanting to do that filibuster. I don't believe that. I mean, they may enjoy getting up there and talking, and I don't care if it takes a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Let them talk.
Yeah.
Let them talk all they want. And when they finally run out of things to say, and there's only 47 of them, then we can take a vote. And if it's 51 votes, the SAVE Act becomes law. Why would you not do that?
I don't get it. I just simply don't. And we would call out every single Republican who decided that having fair elections wasn't important. And make them take the vote. Make them expose themselves. He says he doesn't have the votes. I don't think I have the votes. You're the majority leader. Yeah. What do you mean you don't think you have the votes?
You don't want to
call
put
out
them on
names.
record.
Call out names. Tell us who's not going to vote for it.
Tillis. You know who? Murkowski. What's her name? Collins up in Maine.
I'm telling you, she'd vote for it.
I think you could get her too.
I do. I'm telling you. I don't think they want to go on record of saying they didn't want fair elections.
The last one's McConnell, right? The 4. That's the 4th.
Yeah, that'd be the 4th. We have to.
I completely
Can we bring
agree.
him in an iron lung or something?
No, she's been seated. His sister's been seated.
No. He said.
Oh, not McConnell. Oh,
yeah,
McConnell. Bring him in. Bring him in on oxygen. Absolutely.
Yeah, whatever you have to do. Bring in the cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
I saw a meme yesterday that it was a 3D meme, and it's that picture of him in the hospital room with his wife sitting next to him, and then it kind of goes around to the right, and you see he's just a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Graham, who's being buried today, by the way.
No, he did. Well, they're having the
ceremony.
services for him in the Capitol Rotunda.
Yep.
In fact, even as we speak, they're carrying his casket up to the rotunda, and then they're having a separate viewing or whatever you would call it. It's not like it's an open casket, but they're having a separate viewing in South Carolina before he's buried. So he's supposed to go from here to Columbia, South Carolina, apparently.
Ryan, what do you think? Can they get it done before they go to recess?
No, they can't get it. Well, they need to not go to recess, like Mark's saying. But they need to do the talking filibuster for this specifically because for a variety of reasons. One is you make it the center of gravity. You make it the news story.
Yes.
If you have both parties up there talking constantly about anything, literally, the news is going to cover it. And then you make the SAVE Act the center of coverage for quite a while, and you not only get America's attention on that issue, which, by the way, when you poll people, they're very much in favor of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you make it the center of attention, and then you can really pressure those 4 Republicans to just get one of them. You only need one of them.
Just need one.
So that's what they need to do that.
Wiggins, thank you. Appreciate it. Everybody listen to Wiggins America. You can hear him on the Annie Fry Show. I want to mention today I'm going to go help feed our first responders. Grill Master Tony's cooking the food even as we speak. Trisha Everding's picking it up and bringing it to the station. And I'm going to be driving out to Troy to surprise a first responder organization. I'll talk more about it tomorrow. Send us your nominations to 971talk.com/contests, and maybe we will pick your first responder department next.
And tomorrow's a lot cooler.
Please do that.
69 for the low tomorrow.
Woo!
Cannot wait.
Going to be better.
One more day of heat. Hang in there.
The relief is coming.
That's
All right.
right.
That's going to do it for us. Brian Kilmeade's coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Dan and Ethan and Sue and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by LendSeek.
If you're with health maxing trends, doctors at The Ohio State University say to exercise caution. Experts warn these extreme diet, fitness, and supplement routines promise quick results, but can actually cause nutrient deficiencies, toxic supplement levels, and food anxiety. Instead of overcomplicating things, physicians recommend the basics of lifestyle medicine: sustainable movement, whole foods, and good sleep. I'm Margie Schaefer.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your politician's Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, allowing politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people, and the politician's Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside Forward 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, allowing a minority of the most liberal statewide voters in one district to effectively end our power to stop corruption and out-of-control spending and taxing.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the politicians' Amendments 4 and 5, paid for by Missourians for fair governance. Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your politician's Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, allowing politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people, and the politician's Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside Forward 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, allowing a minority of the most liberal statewide voters in one district to effectively end our power to stop corruption and out-of-control spending and taxing.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the politicians' Amendments 4 and 5.
Paid for by Missourians for fair taxation.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. The $5,000 sweepstakes is back with overhead